The City Council is the sole legislative body of the City of Framingham and is therefore responsible for passing city ordinances. The City Council is made up of 11 members who exercise the legislative powers of Framingham. 2 of these members are known as councilors at large and 9 members are known as district councilors. The City Council serves as a link between the citizens of Framingham and their municipal government. Councilors help constituents by connecting them to resources, services, and city departments, and also serve as advocates for all Framingham residents. The following City Council coverage is brought to you by the Government Channel, a service of the City of Framingham.
Welcome to the City Council meeting of June 16,
I want to
2026.
talk about the school.
We're using version 3 of our agenda, which is posted in the public meeting portal online, and any backup material for this meeting is all available online under our agenda, hyperlinked to each item. This evening, Councilors Bryant and Cannon, I believe, are going to be remote. I see Councilor Cannon here. I do not see Councilor Bryant yet. There are no minutes to be considered this evening, so the first item tonight would be a proclamation, which is, in this instance, a joint proclamation by the Council and Mayor recognizing Caribbean American Heritage Month. And who is, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a joint proclamation to recognize Caribbean American Heritage Month. Whereas for over 2 centuries, the peoples of the Caribbean region, the United States of America, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and formerly the town, presently the city of Framingham, have developed enduring bonds based on mutual interest. Whereas, similar to the United States, the inhabitants of the Caribbean region are a melting pot. They are of indigenous, African, European, and Asian descent and speak various languages, either through the bondage of slavery or immigrating in search of a better life for themselves, their families, and their loved ones as they left behind the world they knew. These courageous and tenacious people have been immigrating from around the region from locations such as, but not limited to, the independent island nations of Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Grenada, Haiti, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, and the following territories belonging to the United Kingdom: Anguilla, Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands. This is very...
And you're doing very good. I'm actually impressed.
The Cayman Islands, Montserrat, Turks and Caicos, as well as the following territories belonging to the United States: Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the following territories belonging to France: Guadeloupe, Martinique, Saba, St. Barths, St. Eustatius, and St. Martin, and the following semi-autonomous territories of the Kingdom of the Netherlands: Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, and St. Martin. And finally, due to their strong cultural connections, immigrants from the mainland continents of North, Central, and South America, to include Guyana, Belize, Honduras, Suriname, Costa Rica, and Panama, have joined the family of Caribbean countries. And whereas amongst the millions of Caribbean immigrants are talented craftspeople, poets, doctors, scientists, athletes, and entertainers, many known and unknown have reached the pinnacle of their careers here in the United States, which has undoubtedly enriched our national character and strengthened the fabric of our culture, and we are proud they are part of the American family. And whereas the following are a small list of renowned individuals that have made indelible contributions in their vocations into the United States: Founding Father and First Secretary of State Alexander Hamilton was born in St. Kitts. Former Vice President of the United States and former U.S. Senator Kamala Harris is of Jamaican parentage. Grammy Award winner, singer, songwriter, and entrepreneur Robin Rihanna Fenty was born and raised in Barbados. Grammy and Tony Award-winning actor, singer, songwriter, and playwright Lin-Manuel Miranda is Puerto Rican. Retired designated hitter from the Boston Red Sox, two-time World Series World Series champion and future Baseball Hall of Famer David Big Papi Ortiz hails from the Dominican Republic. And whereas in February 2005, the United States House of Representatives unanimously adopted Resolution 71, recognizing the significance of the Caribbean people and their descendants in the history and culture of the United States. On February 14th, 2006, the resolution similarly passed the Senate, culminating a two-year bipartisan and bicameral effort. And whereas, since the passage of the resolution in 2006, the President of the United States has issued an annual proclamation officially recognizing June as Caribbean American Heritage Month, and whereas during Caribbean American Heritage Month, it is also important that we acknowledge and celebrate the indispensable relationship the United States and the dozens of island nations and territories in the Caribbean region. We should all strive to build upon these long-standing partnerships to assist the people of the Caribbean, to provide aid and assistance whenever feasible, to improve healthcare and educational opportunities, to promote mutual and sound economic development between our countries and support shared desires for democratic governance and support climate change mitigation efforts throughout the islands. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Framingham City Council and Mayor recognize June 2026 as Caribbean American Heritage Month in Framingham and encourage residents to recognize the importance of Caribbean influence on our community and partake in this celebration. And it's signed by the mayor and the members of the city council.
Thank you.
Phew.
Very good in geography and some history.
His audio cut out there, Mr. Chairman. Could he repeat that?
So Cynthia would like a picture with us.
I'm on you, girl.
Last side.
Okay. Cheese. Charlie, smile.
Wait. You're from the Caribbean as well.
Okay, get over there quick. Come on. All right, hold on.
Bahamas and Haiti.
Anybody else? Okay.
Antigua. Okay.
All right. On three. 1, 2, 3. I took like 30.
Thanks.
I'll send you.
Thank you.
Okay. That's- Next, we have another proclamation. Mr. Mayor, would you like to do it again?
Sure. So this is a joint proclamation to recognize and celebrate Juneteenth. Whereas the American Civil War was fought from 1861 to 1865 to ensure that freedom was shared by all Americans, and whereas on January 1, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which gave freedom to all enslaved African Americans in the Confederate States. And whereas between July 1st and 3rd, 1863, at the height of the war, a ferocious and bloody battle at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, took place. Approximately 51,000 combined were either killed, wounded, or missing out of roughly 165,000 combatants. Many scholars consider Gettysburg as a defining turning point in the war, and whereas on November 19th, 1863, President Lincoln visited the battlefield to deliver his Gettysburg Address. In part, President Lincoln said, 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether the nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. That from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. Whereas, let us be reminded that during the 1850s, Harmony Grove along the eastern shore of Farm Pond here in Framingham was a host to several anti-slavery rallies sponsored by the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society. On July 4th, 1854, a gathering of roughly 2,000 attendees came to Harmony Grove to hear prominent speakers to include Henry David Thoreau, Sojourner Truth, and William Lloyd Garrison, owner of the Liberator newspaper. And whereas for abolitionists around the nation and here in Framingham, the Emancipation Proclamation and subsequently Juneteenth was a culmination of decades-long fight to abolish the abomination of forced human servitude in the United States of America. And whereas Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration of freedom for African Americans and is a celebration of freedom and justice for all Americans. And be it resolved, the Framingham City Council and Mayor recognize the former town and presently city of Framingham's important role in the abolitionist movement during the antebellum period in the United States that in part led to the abolishment of slavery and Juneteenth. We encourage all residents to celebrate these events and achievements, and it's signed by the mayor and the city council. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Next, we have public participation for items that are not on the agenda. I do have the list of people who signed up to speak about the budget when we get to that topic. There is no one signed up to talk about subjects not on our agenda. Let me just check the Zoom to see if anyone is there. Mr. Bloomfield, you have 3 minutes if it's not about the budget. If it's about the budget, you'll have to wait. Which would you like?
I'm going to speak now. I'll be speaking later when the budget comes up. I want to speak on something else now that's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
3 minutes. Go ahead.
Health coverage. I am concerned. Coverage now out of reach for many tens of thousands going without health insurance as premiums in Massachusetts soar. You city councilors, are your constituents in your districts going without health insurance? Do you even know? This issue is not being addressed, and our delegation up on Beacon Hill is silent. Insist that they talk to you. This is an affordability issue, having cost of living piling on with other cost of living issues, along with negative news, companies and Massachusetts residents moving out to red states. Again, Beacon Hill is silent. Families living without affordable insurance is a blow not only to health care access, but for their finances and sense of stability and well-being. How in God's name is this happening? Families asking, what are we going to do when our money runs out? That's how desperate this whole issue is, and it's not being addressed at all. Moving along, Knobscott, Edmonds Road, Edgell Development, back again, and even more no to Knobscott zoning change. Fines are out. This parcel has been before Knobscott neighbors many times over the last 10 years. Is this going to land court? No specific directions are being given to residents as to how, when, and why. What Framingham government entity will be creating process and guidance for the people of Knobscott to this legal end, or whatever the process is, needs to be made available to our citizens. How and what is the official zoning for this parcel right now? Is it simply our single-family homes? Yes or no? What is it? And what's the process for trying to have a developer change it? Reorg, city officials. That's you. Last minute, out of the blue, unorthodox.
You have 15 seconds, Mr. Bloomfield.
Citywide reorganization, unvetted, my, oh my, what are we doing now? Having questionable synergies impacting Callahan Senior Center, Parks and Rec.
Okay, Mr.
veterans,
Bloomfield, your
and-
time is up for now, okay?
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Well, you folks.
Okay, next on our agenda are appointments, items 3 through 8, all referrals to the appointment subcommittee. So I will just refer them all, just very briefly. Number 3 is Douglas Lawrence, the Economic Development Corporation, and Patrick Manesso to the same, to the Community at Large seat for that organization. For the appointment subcommittee for the Cultural Council, Kerry Najarian, District 8, till 2029. Number 5 is to Megan Toland from D2 to serve on the Board of Assessors through June 30th, 2029. Number 6 is reappointments of Catherine Cuddy and Dennis Moran to the Disability Commission through June of 2029. Number 7 is the consideration of Bridget Griffin, Christine Garino, Cynthia McLean, Tammy Richardson to the Women, Children, and Families Commission through June of 2029. And number 8 is Sampath Bade, Jean Novak, and David Sapupo, District 3, to the Conservation Commission through June 30th, 2029. Does anybody have any objections, concerns, questions? If not, they are all referred. Next is a continued from the 4/21/26 council meeting, consideration of amendments to the Framingham zoning ordinance, section 435, attachment 1, table of uses, attachment 2, adding floor area ratio of .50 for 1 and 2 family units in the G zone. This is the second reading. Ms. Long?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as you so astutely said, this is proposed amendments to Chapter 435, Attachment 1, Section 1 in the Table of Uses. There'd be a new footnote in the Table of Uses, insert 8A to designate that footnote 8A applies to the following uses in Table 1: single-family detached dwelling, two-family dwelling, multifamily dwelling, artist live work gallery. So those would all have 8A footnote. The 8A footnote reads, the Zoning Board of Appeals shall not grant a special permit for non-conforming lot or structure. The lot and structure shall conform to the existing area, frontage, width, setback, and lot coverage requirements applicable to the zoning districts in which they are located. As I iterated above, off-street parking shall be provided for both dwelling units in accordance with the requirements set forth in Chapter 435-24. Proposed amendment to Chapter 435 Table of Dimensional Regulations, add floor area ratio of, as amended, .3 to the column for 1 and 2 family in the G zone. So,
Per dwelling unit.
excuse me?
0.3 per dwelling unit.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. So
So that's the motion?
Second.
Okay. This is a second reading. Any further questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
First, I'd like to thank the chair of the subcommittee for her work on this and for crafting a workable solution that worked together. I'd like to offer an amendment. I hope it's a friendly amendment. The planning board has met and talked about this. They went through with the planning director, and they came to the recommendation not only of .30, they supported the recommendation of the subcommittee, but they also recommended 35 feet in height from 40 feet so that it's standard across residential zones.
So I can't accept that because in the G zone, there's commercial buildings, and they're 40 feet tall across all Framingham zoning. So if you amend that for that one area, it's going to be not consistent with the rest of our commercial zoning. If there were no commercial properties in the G zone, then I would say that's fine. But because there's a mix of types of properties that would be affected by that change, now you're saying that any commercial property that's in a G zone would have to be reduced to 35 feet.
So the planning director went through that. There actually aren't very many, but those are all pre-existing, non-conforming. And if they're in the commercial zone as well, then the commercial zone would be like an overlay and would allow them to do that. So the number of places, this would affect de novo development, not an existing facility. And in the G zone, there's they didn't find that to be compelling. They went through and did the data almost lot by lot.
Okay, so that's an amendment. Let's just restate the amendment.
I haven't made an amendment yet.
Okay, well-
I'd be curious as to Mr. Ottaviani's comments.
Yeah, me too.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Yeah, if you presently go in front of our zoning board, and you get, if you're in a manufacturing zone, like look at Thayer Street or Hollis Street down that neck of the woods, and you go in and there's all multis and there's singles around you, and you have to go to the zoning board for a use variance. In that zone, for a two-family, you can go 35 or 40 feet. If you go in the G zone currently and you go and go get a special permit, the other was a use variance, there's a special permit now in the G zone to build a two-family dwelling. By right, unless they put a restriction on it, you can build that 40 feet. Now, that is higher. On Carter Drive, when I was on the zoning board, as you know, 21 years, I chaired it. On Carter Drive, we gave out a lot of those variances up on the hill where the Gueris lived. All the houses that were built on the right, they came in for 40-foot variances, or 40-foot height variances, a 5-foot variance because the topography of the land, and they were huge homes, and they wanted the height. So, there's some discretion involved, but everything else that we're talking about is pre-existing non-conforming. If you've got a duplex up now and it's 40 feet, they can't take it away from you. So it is pre-existing non-conforming. I think the most significant part of this is it's going to eliminate, as Council Stefanini, why I brought it forward, a 7,000 square foot house in the middle of a general residence zone. It doesn't fit, and there's no guidelines and flat roofs. I'm not a flat roof guy. It's like a needle in a haystack. It's awful.
Do you have an opinion on 35 feet?
The example that you've used on DeSoto is 35 feet. It's a duplex, it's 35 feet. You changed, my concern was the .3, because I want to be able to see people build duplexes like Clarks Hill, DeSoto, Seminole Ave, that don't have a problem. And that means you can build on an 8,000 square foot lot, you can build a 2,400 square foot half a duplex. Some people might think that's big, but that's not that big, okay? And that doesn't include the garage, doesn't include the basement, but you drive up and down Clarks Hill, anything that has a two-car garage is pretty much 2,400 square feet, and they're beautiful. They're tastefully done, hardy plank siding. The problem with this, it's not the zoning that's the issue. It's a bad builder or a bad developer. So you need to try to corral that.
Can I have a follow-up on that, George? Yeah, so
And Ms. Mallett.
what do you think on the 40-foot reduction? Because I still think we should leave it alone.
Leaving it alone is fine with me. I would prefer it being left alone, but the one thing that I was really concerned about was the .3, and they've addressed that, so I can go either way. It's just, I want to see, I understand what the concern was, I understand what the problem was, because you don't see too many 7,000 square foot houses in a G zone. They just don't, it doesn't fit, it doesn't belong. You don't see too many 7,000 square foot houses in Framingham to begin with, never mind, in the middle of a neighborhood that has all cottages. Just, it's awful.
So, as a follow-up, Counselor Stefanini, so because there would be no variances allowed to be issued, there would be no houses that would be over 35 feet, and that the only properties, which you're saying there's only a few commercial, would be allowed to be 40. So that really isn't, it does address your issues?
Well, no, what Mr. Ottaviani said is 40 feet in a G zone is by right.
All right, so.
Correct, that's what I'm saying, for a commercial property,
All
not for
right,
not
all
for
right,
a
all right,
residential.
all right. Just trying to be a little flexible here because trying to get this resolved, but we're not going to have three people talking at once. I think everybody understands the proposal, the concerns, and the positives. Ms.
I have a
Mallett?
question.
I was going to say, as
Ms.
somebody,
Bryant, I see your hand, please. Do not
Oh,
interrupt
okay.
when you're on Zoom. Thank you.
I
as
thought
somebody
you
who
were gonna
lives,
vote.
as somebody who lives in a G zone, I don't want to see 40-foot commercial buildings developed next door to me, regardless of what the floor area ratio is. So I would support putting the 35-foot restriction on that, even if it's already there and it's just a reiteration of it, that would make me feel good.
Anybody else at the table? Ms. Bryant?
I just wanted to know, Council Ottaviani, you spoke of duplexes, right? But, so is this saying that a person can't build like a single residence house that would be the same size as like the duplexes, a duplex? Would it have to be smaller, or could it be the same size that a duplex would, the same square footage of a duplex?
Thank you,
You're
Ms.
going to
Bryant.
restrict the size of a single-family home in that zone. You're only going to be able to build .3. So if you got the permit for a duplex in a general residence, you can build 2,400, you put them together, it's 4,800 square feet. You build a single family in that zone, you're only going to be able to build a 2,400 square foot home based on
So
the
it seems
zoning.
like that's kind of
Okay.
pushing duplexes, is that correct?
Like, duplexes are allowed in the city of Framingham in the general residence zone. You have to petition the zoning board of appeals, you have to get a special permit, and they give you conditions. That's where they are in Framingham. They're not allowed in our, well, we've changed the zone, or the state changed our zoning. R1, R2, R3, R4, I don't care if it's an 8,000 square foot lot or an acre, 40,000 square foot lot. Everybody can add an ADU to their house or put a shed in their backyard that's 120, whatever, 900 square feet. And every lot in Framingham has become a multifamily lot, if you look at it that way.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Wait, follow up, please.
Follow up to
I just
what? You
want
gonna make a
clarity.
comment or a question? I let you ask Mr. Adviani.
Question.
Who are you asking the question to?
Councilor Adviani?
Well, Councilor Adviani's not the sponsor, he's not the chairman, he's just another
Okay, well,
counselor, so.
Councilor Long.
I'm in the bleachers,
whoever-
Telly. I'm over
whoever
here in the
sponsors.
corner.
So, Mr. Bryan, do you have any
Anyone.
comment on this? Otherwise, we're gonna move to the vote.
The comment is, it seems that it encourages duplexes over single-family residences. The single-family residence, if it's the same size land, you know, I don't know why we can build a bigger duplex on a small parcel of land than a single-family home on a parcel of land on the same size
Okay.
parcel. I think it should be equal, that's what
Thank you.
I'm.
Mr. Ward, then Mr. Adviani.
I think I made a
Not
mistake.
gonna-
That's why I want to correct. Council, is the ratio 0.5, but 0.3 per dwelling?
0.3 per dwelling.
0.5 is the other number, so I was wrong. You can actually build a single family on an 8,000 square foot lot, you can build a 4,000 square foot house, so it's covered. It's not, I apologize, I
Okay,
misunderstood.
thank you. Mr.
Thank
Ward,
you.
then we're gonna vote.
Can you clarify that? Because that was not my understanding.
Okay.
So it's not 0.3 per dwelling?
Point 3 was the motion. Yes, per building, per lot.
Mr.
I'm
Ward.
wrong again.
Yeah, so I would share those concerns that Councilor Bryant raised, and they were also raised during the planning board discussion, which is, I have no problem with people building duplexes, but I'm not sure we should be creating an incentive for developers to tear down existing homes to go and build duplexes. So I'd be much more comfortable with a single number, just a 0.5 number. Or the planning board also discussed having a tiered, like a 0.35 for a single family, 0.5 or something of that nature for duplexes. So that'd be where I'd be more aligned. I'm fine with the 35-foot restriction.
Ms. Long?
So the bigger the number, the bigger the ability to put to build on. So you want a smaller number, you don't want to go to 0.5 unless you want to cover the whole lot. So 0.3, as Councilor Ottaviani pointed out, you get like a 2,400 square foot house.
Well, the 0.3 per dwelling unit is 0.6, so that's higher.
Yeah.
Well, all right, hold on.
Mr. Chairman?
No, not yet. So that point is accurate, right? This last
Yes.
point is accurate.
Yeah. No, the point,
Even though it's 0.3, it's 0.3 per dwelling unit. That's what, please clarify that. Is that what the case is?
that's the floor area ratio,
Right, I get it. Per dwelling unit, correct?
correct.
So is therefore, Mr. Ward's interpretation of 0.3 times 2 being 0.6, is that accurate?
For a duplex.
For a duplex, right, if there's 2 units, if the duplex is on the property, the FAR becomes an effective 0.6, is that correct?
Right.
I'm not saying I'm
because-
opposed to it, I'm just trying to figure out whether, just for clarification for everybody here, is that accurate?
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Just checking, be sure no one hasn't spoken.
But you're not going to prevent duplexes from being built.
Mr. Stephanie.
Mr. Chairman, just a clarification to the two of the last speakers. It is 0.3 per dwelling unit. It is agnostic as to whether or not you're a duplex or not. You still have to go through the zoning process to get a duplex. But if you do go through a duplex, it takes and sets a number that is 0.6 because it's per dwelling unit. The concern was you wanted the number of 0.3 for a single-family unit, so you don't get a giant building in place of a cottage, but also recognition that if you did 2 units, that you would have to have a bigger number. So one bigger number doesn't solve the problem. It ends up with a single-family home that is huge, So you need two numbers to consider both options. But this is, to both councils, this is agnostic as to whether or not there is or is not a duplex. You have to go through the zoning board process to get it through a special permit.
That's understood, that our bylaws forever, you've had to do that. But if you get that, I think I don't want to state Mr. Wood's question for him, but if you do get that duplex, then you can have a .6 FAR under this amendment. Correct? Does anyone object to that? Okay, that's correct. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Yeah, and I guess, just to kind of wrap up my point, I think it's just encouraging developers to go and seek that, whereas I believe it was Mr. Matoran at the planning board discussion talked about, maybe we make those numbers a little closer. Maybe you make it a .35 for a single residence and a .5 limit for a duplex or something of that nature, so that we're not, So I don't know if others are interested in that kind of idea. I'm not particularly interested in this one.
Ms. De Oliviani, then Ms. Long.
We preach a good game here about affordable housing and how much housing you need. I'm voting totally against this if you change that number from a .3, because all you have to do is drive around the little old Italian neighborhood, all the small 5,000 square foot lots. If you take away the ability, go down off of Kendall Ave and Beaver Street, the houses Pat Teddy built, they're all anywhere from 18 to 2,300 square feet per side. They fit, they meet all the setbacks, they meet the front setback, they make the rear setback. There's no variances. It's a special permit with restrictions. But, most people, if you build a two-family home in Framingham, it's more affordable for somebody to buy half of a two-family than go out and buy a brand-new single-family house. It's just, I see it every day, and if we're selling half a duplexes off of Kendall Ave for $750,000, you need to create housing in Framingham, and that's the one zone where it's allowed. General residence zone is where you go get a special permit to build a two-family home, and they put restrictions on it. It's not a variance unless you're building in a manufacturing zone and you want to build a two-family. You get a use variance. No different than the Buckley got a use variance to do those apartments. There's all different ways to do it.
Ms. Long?
I don't have anything further. He
The only
said-
comment I would have, I think, this is certainly not my area of expertise, but I understand the concerns and the statement of what Brandon said about people being incentivized to do that. But at the same point, I think we should remember that the original proposal here is an attempt to solve a problem. So if we don't pass this in some form, we don't solve the problem. We have the problem we have now. So, I mean, it's like, what's the best way about it? So, Ms. Long?
So I would accept your amendment on the reduction on height, if that's what you really want.
Then I would move that then to 35 feet.
Okay, I thought she'll accept it, so it's 35 feet.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Ms. Bryant, quickly, and then we're going to vote.
Good. Most of the people who live in my district would rather, they're trying to save to move into a single-family resident. It can be more than a duplex, okay? Because they're already living close to, right up next to people. They want a single family, if possible. Of course, we want it affordable. Of course, we don't want it too high. We want it to fit the neighborhood. But I would like, like Brandon said, something just a little closer, maybe 0.35 for the single residences. How big would that be, square footage wise?
Depends on the size of the lot.
Okay. There's no other motions on the table. I'm going to take a vote. It's a roll call vote, and according to my cheat sheet from a couple of weeks ago, we start with Mr. Ward. So, Mr. Ward?
Bless you.
No.
Ms. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
God bless.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Aviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stefanini?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
I think if I got my question answered, I could vote, but since I didn't get the last question answered, I will have to abstain.
Okay, myself, yes. Ms. Leon Bruno?
Yes.
And Ms. Long?
Yes.
It's 9 in favor, 1 opposed, and 1 abstained. That's 11, so it passes. And that is a second reading, so that is that. Okay, next is the continued discussion and consideration for second reading of the zoning amendments to Clark's Hill that we passed at our last meeting. Council Long, do you want to just make the motion again?
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we do have an MOU that the city solicitor I was hoping we would get this to everybody sooner than later, but I did have Marion distribute it to everybody so they could review it, but that has been reviewed by the city solicitor and approved by the solicitor. There are some revisions in it. Does have the mayor sign on to this. As to your point, Counselor King, and I don't really have anything further on this. I wish everybody had got this a little bit sooner. There's not a lot of revisions, but it just tightens up what we talked about last week. And I think it satisfies all the issues. The zoning map, to Council Ward's point, that property isn't into the MOU because it's taken out of the zoning map. So I think that was addressed. And I don't know what other issues were still outstanding, but I will make, this is the second read, so this is the
That's
final
correct, this is
vote.
final vote, correct.
So I can read the amendments, that the proposed amendments include amending the zoning district for 1 Clarks Hill Lane, parcel ID 122-18-8290-000, to be changed from R1 Single Family Residence to Planned Reuse District, as well expanding the PRD zoning into parcel IDs 122-18, 422, 4022 rather, 000, and 129/17/7723/000, and into a portion of the roadway of Clarks Hill Lane, all currently Zone M, manufacturing revisions to the table of uses, Section 435, Attachment 1, under PRD, amendments to Section 435.10 and 435.6.d related to proposed PRD changes, additional amendments to the table of dimensional regulations, Section 4E, Attachment 2, to establish dimensional regulations for the affected parcels, including but not limited to setbacks, building height regulations, floor area ratio, and maximum lot coverage, a site-specific footnote applicable to the Clarks Hill parcels. Purpose and intent of the PRD district is, quote, to permit and encourage the appropriate reuse of land and buildings that are no longer needed or suitable for their original use, and to permit reuses which are compatible with the character of the neighborhood, in which will take into consideration the interests of abutters, neighbors, and the public, especially where the site abuts a residential area of the buildings, merit preservation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
I just have a question. The city solicitor sent us a email recently that had specific proposed vote language, which was different than the public hearing language that
Yeah, the public
you
hearing,
said. So I just want to
What
clarify.
email was that?
she just sent it out, so I
It
can't get
came in
into my
from
email.
Solicitor
Just a little while ago.
Can I read your MOU?
Sure.
Yes.
So, okay, so in addition, the proposed votes to amend, I'm sorry. Where's the MOU?
It's down at the bottom because that only requires a majority vote. whereas
Right, so the
everything else
proposed vote to
requires-
recommend the developer's MOU,
Right, so.
this
but
one's a
all of
this is a three-quartered vote. I just read all that off the legal notice.
You feel like that covered that? in the
Yes,
legal
and
notice?
by the way, so this is a two-third vote on the zoning. On the proposed vote to recommend developers MOU, recommend the mayor enter a memorandum of agreement with developer 10 Mount Olympus LLC in the mayor's discretion upon such terms and conditions as the mayor deems appropriate. So that's a motion for the MOU, and that's a single, simple majority vote. The other vote for the zoning is a two-third majority vote.
Okay, is there a second?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Malik, for picking up. Any further discussion? Ms. Bryant? You gotta unmute yourself,
I
Tracy.
like it.
All right. I want to know, is the owner here, is he in the house tonight?
No,
Is his attorney in the house?
no.
All right, the problem
I'm
is,
told
I
I'm
want
told
to,
she's on Zoom, I did not know that.
okay, I want to hear from her, even preferably I would have liked to have heard from him, if he has seen all the latest draft, and is that in keeping with all the changes he had agreed upon I want to know that, one. And then the other thing is, I don't, this is just a question out to anyone that can answer it. Why do we keep violating open meeting law by getting these things so late? Like,
It's not a violation of the open meeting law.
well, that's debatable, because I think it is.
Violation of our rules.
But it
What's
is,
that?
if, even if you
violation of
said
our
it's
rules.
not a
Correct.
violation of open meeting law, it is definitely, it is disrespectful to the public.
I don't disagree with that whatsoever, but I don't want to make us, anybody to think we are continually violating the open meeting law, because we are not. Ms. Garahan, do you want to respond to that question about his agreement?
About the agreement to the revised?
Yes, correct. That's the
MOU?
question. Yes,
Yes, the changes were, as Councilor Long pointed out, having the mayor be the signatory. There was one typo on a zip code, and there were, I think, 2 places where it was the Clarks Hill Lane was added to clarify that the road would also be rezoned, because access to a property needs to be the same zone as uses on the property. So those were the changes, and those are acceptable. I think my client is here, actually, if there was an additional question for him.
I just want to hear him affirm. I knew that the mayor's signatory and the zip code, those little things were good. I just want to hear from him that he has seen the changes. He's good to go with it all.
Well, I think you just heard it from his representative, right?
I know, but she said she thought he was there.
Right, but she's representing him just for the case of moving forward. She said he is okay with it. So I also do not see him here, unless I'm missing him.
He did have some trouble signing in. I sent him the
Okay, so
link.
he's not here anyways.
It's all right, Kim.
So-
He might not be here.
He's not here. Okay, anything else? All right, seeing nothing, Mr. Cannon, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. We got and thanks to the team and everybody that has worked on this, and for the patience of Mr. Theodorakis and Ms. Garahan and everybody. We got these documents at 6:29 and 6:38. Now, if the spirit of the council is that that's okay tonight, I won't encourage that. I raise the question, is everybody comfortable with this? Not with the spirit, not with the tenor, but just, I haven't had a chance to take a look at this. I don't know if it's a flawless document. If there's anybody else on the council that is concerned about that.
So,
Let's vote on
Mr.
it at the
Cannon,
next
I
meeting. If
appreciate
not-
the comment. I think you're right, and it is against our rules, so it shouldn't have happened. It's bad practice. This is a second vote, so I would leave it up to anybody. I don't want to poll everybody to see their feelings. I don't think anyone here is going to say they think it was good. So the question is whether you're comfortable voting in a second reading or not. Right now, that's what's on the table. If someone wants to make a motion to table it, they can do that. But that to the next meeting, but that's really the only choice we have. I mean, to table it to the next meeting, or to overlook the late delivery, which shouldn't happen. Hopefully, it will not happen. We should try to remind the city solicitor that can't happen, and that and accept what is stated as to what the changes are. So it's up to the individual people. But with that, Ms. Long.
Can I just say, I hope that we vote this tonight. I'm going to be out for a while, so this is going to be difficult if this gets pushed down the road. And I know, just because I'm not going to be here, that that's maybe not a reason not to vote for it. But I will tell you, I've worked on the solicitor with Attorney Garahan on this MOU nonstop, and I have repeatedly asked that this be provided to the council well in advance, and I keep getting this at the last minute, and it's not for any fault of the attorney or myself trying to get this document to the council in a timely manner, so I apologize for that. I have no control over that. The only thing I can do is repeatedly ask that this be provided to the council prior to our meeting. And there are very minimal changes to this MOU, and I think you actually reviewed it. So I would ask that the council vote on this tonight so we can dispose of this matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Stefanini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just, I wasn't going to comment on the content of this, but on the MOU, I'd just make two comments. One is the changes are minimal, and they're consistent with what we've discussed before. And two, at the end of the day, the way it is drafted, we're just recommending that the mayor adopt it. At the end of the day, the terms, the conditions are for the mayor to go through with the solicitor and determine. So
I don't really.
Okay,
we're just recommending that the mayor accept adopt an MOU.
I think that's reasonable and accurate. Okay, I'm going to take a vote. All those in favor, sorry, I wish we could do it that way. We cannot do it that way. So I'll start with Ms. Feeney.
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Aviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stefanini?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Leon-Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
It's unanimous. It's passed. Second reading. It's done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Report of the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to share several upcoming community events, holiday observances, and public meetings that are taking place in the city of Framingham over the coming days and weeks. Framingham Farmers Market will officially open its season on Thursday, June 18th at the Framingham Center Common. The market will operate from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. each Thursday throughout the season. According to Market Manager Bill Sell, more than 100 vendors are expected to participate this year, offering residents access to fresh produce, prepared foods, artisan goods, and local products. On Friday, June 19th, is Juneteenth holiday. Municipal offices located in the Memorial Building will be closed, along with the Framingham Public Library and the Callahan Center. There'll be a public event raising the flag at the noontime in the front of the Memorial Building. There'll be no curbside trash and recycling collection on Friday. Collection normally scheduled for Friday will take place on Saturday, June 20th. The city will host the third annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremony, as I said, at noontime in front of the Memorial Building. The event was organized by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer Jesse Edwards and serves as an opportunity for the community to commemorate the end of slavery in the United States and celebrate Black history, culture, and achievements. On Sunday, June 21st, the second annual Bay State Motor Festival will take place at Cushing Memorial Park from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The event will feature a variety of classic, custom, and specialty vehicles and is expected to draw automobile enthusiasts from across the region. The Department of Public Works will hold a neighborhood meeting on Wednesday, June 25th at 7 p.m. at Barberry Elementary School to discuss the upcoming Winter Street roadway project. Residents will have an opportunity to learn more about the project scope, construction timeline, and anticipated impacts. Construction is scheduled to begin during the week of July 5th. The Framingham Public Library will kick off its summer reading program with a Touch a Truck event on Saturday, June 27th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Families will have the opportunity to explore a variety of vehicles and equipment while learning about municipal services and community partners. The event serves as the official launch of the library's summer reading activities for children and families. And that is my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the mayor? Seeing none, Mr. Stefanini?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, thank you for doing the Winter Street meeting. One of the things I just wanted to add, they're also going to take and talk about the Winter Salem End Road intersection, which I think is also of great interest to the same cohort of people. I wanted to just use the opportunity to let everybody know the Cobenville Tripoli Neighborhood Association is doing its 4th annual block party this Saturday, 11:30 to 1:30. All of you are invited, as is the public. Come enjoy some food, games, fun.
Ms. Malik?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'm sure you're aware, but over this past weekend, the stench of the trash trains were pretty horrific. It's been a couple of days. I mean, I know I was a part of a conversation with Mr. Murphy from the Health Department and CSX and some other counselors, and Just wondering if there's been any progress along those lines. I know some residents have started reaching out directly to CSX. So any updates?
So Mr. Murphy has, the Director of Public Health has been leading the conversation with CSX, the person who represents their interest in this area, and I don't think we're making much progress. So I have decided to convene a meeting of the neighborhood and relevant stakeholders, including representatives from our federal legislative delegation, because it's the federal government that really controls what the railroads can do and can't do. The local community and the state has very little jurisdiction over the railroad. It's the federal government, and especially the Commerce Department, of which Congressman Markey is the ranking member, I believe. So we're going to reach out to them. We're trying to get a date in the very near future to involve those people as well as the neighborhood and listen to, get as much input as we can and pass that input along to our congressional delegation and hopefully get some more attention from CSX directly. So that's what we're working on.
So,
Thank you so much.
anything else? So I would like to talk about that issue briefly, too. I think that's a good idea. I think it's a necessary idea. I think the one meeting I was in with CSX on this issue, they were very unimpressive to me. Their solution, the best I've seen so far, is to move the garbage from one area of town to the other area of town, hoping it's a little bit further away from houses. But I was running down Franklin Street Saturday night. It was a warm night. It was disgusting. And it's just, people should not have to live in that situation or near that. And it's just unbelievable to me that CSX can bring in trains full of garbage and leave them there and just go home for the weekend or whatever they do. It really is bad. So I'm happy that you're taking that action. I think it's the only action, the only hope that anybody can have is to have some federal government help, because CSX has no interest. They don't care. They made it obvious at that meeting they don't care. And they're not going to do anything until they're absolutely forced to do it, while our residents suffer through. I can't imagine a whole lot worse living a situation than having to smell garbage all the time. Okay, so Mr. Stefanini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I couldn't agree with you more. It's not an odor for those who, it's rancid. It's anaerobic activity. I just wanted to add one little footnote, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for convening that and doing that. Mr. Murphy identified, it's a small hook, but it may be helpful, that while preemption stops the state and local government from doing much, if anything, on the transport, when it's being loaded, the state maintains at the transfer station. And there are 4 municipalities, and I know you know all this, but I'm sharing this so that everybody else knows this. 4 municipalities that are loading it, those sites are regulated. All 4 of those sites are currently in compliance with existing DEP regulations. Rep. Souza and Spilka, there's right now going through the legislature an environmental bond bill. Rep. Souza has offered an amendment which will be debated tomorrow, which says, notwithstanding those regulations, that solid waste management, municipal solid waste loaded onto rail freight cars shall not leave the transfer station, which is in the community, unless it is encapsulated with foam or other approved covering to eliminate odor deemed objectionable, noxious, and foul per the scientifically accepted FIDO, frequently, intensity, duration, offensiveness framework. And so we can't regulate it once on the rails, but the state has some ability to regulate it, and their current regulations do not consider that. It's a long shot, but I think we have to try everything, because it is horrific. And I appreciate you doing that.
Mr. Aviani.
You know, we talk about preemption. We got a guy operating on Hollis Street that operates like a railroad, and he's not a railroad. So I don't know how the preemption comes in. And, you know, just in full disclosure, we own 4 units off of Thea Street. But they're operating over there on Hollis Street, that CSX yard, and they're not a railroad. The only person that has preemption is the railroad. So we got this going on in our own backyard over here on Hollis Street that I've written a letter about and talked about it, but that guy still does whatever he wants over there. There's no planning board supervision, no zoning board, no hours of operation, cars coming and going, grinding hot top. So preemption is in the eye of the beholder, I've come to learn out, okay? Come to realize that it's only as good as the enforcement on it.
Okay, does somebody else over here have a question or comment? Okay, Mr. Cannon?
Just echoing the comments, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for engaging our federal delegation. I mean, the CSX and railroads know their regulations really, really well, and they can play states and municipalities like a fiddle, as we have seen them do. And, folks with air quality monitors in their homes have had those alarms go off over the past few years. It's stunning how long we've been talking about this. So I appreciate you leaning on our federal delegations, and I fear that it might have to be almost embarrassing for them to take meaningful action here, because the railroads carry a lot of weight. And there's very little we can do. And the railroads know how to be in compliance with state and municipal regulations because they're so limited. So I hope there's luck with the amendment that Rep. Souza is pursuing. I think that's great. I'm hopeful that we can get some answers from Congresswoman Clark's office and from our Senate delegation at the federal level as well. So thank you for pursuing this. And kudos to Bill Murphy. He knows how limited his powers are, but he continues to pursue this doggedly, and I'm grateful for it. It's an awful thing to go through the community and to have to deal with that. It's probably touched all of our desks, whether or not we live in those areas. It just wafts throughout the community. So hopefully results soon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Bryant?
So did our bill say that it is in any way a health hazard or detrimental to people's well-being? I'm thinking about people being able to, file, because it is affecting them, or do we not know that yet? Is there any way the residents can file against the railroad?
Ms. Bryant, who's that directed to, the mayor?
That's directed to the mayor.
Do you know, Mr. Mayor? Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's move on.
What's the answer? I didn't hear him.
I'm sorry, he does not know.
Okay.
Okay, anything else from the mayor? Seeing none. The next item is a budget. It's a continued discussion. It's a second reading of the FY27 city budget. It requires an order, a motion to be read by Mr. Aviani. Do you want to read that first?
Yeah, it's item number 11, order 2026-045-002. Background material was added. It's continued discussion, second reading and vote. Ordered to raise and appropriate and transfer from available funds or otherwise provided the sums of money for the support of the operations of the city, for a reserve fund and for the payment of notes and bonds of the city, if any, which mature in fiscal year 2027, for the payment of pensions and for all other necessary expenses for the city for the fiscal year 2027, July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, which total $385,805,293 and $12,364,913 of non-appropriate items, for a total of $398,170,206, and pay the cost of the following general fund operating budget items. Can I say as listed, or am I reading all these?
No, you can, as listed.
As listed. Then, for a total, as I said, general fund appropriation, $385,805,293. Non-appropriation items, non-voting items, $12,364,913, for a total general fund of $398,170,206. To support said appropriations transferred or authorized from the following funds: transfer from free cash, $10 million. Transfer from the Utility Enterprise Fund, $3,800,069. Transfer from PEG Access and Cable-Related Fund, $453,653. The remainder to be raised from taxation. Further ordered that $59,878,625 is appropriated to pay costs for the following Utility Enterprise Fund departments: the Water Department, $27,159,741. The Sewer Department, $32,718,884. Section 2, order to adopt FY 2027 classification plan for non-union senior management and division head positions and associated salary schedules, and further to adopt the individual positions and compensated as submitted. ordered the attached budget provision as adopted by the Finance Subcommittee at its meeting held on Thursday, June 11, 2026, be adopted as part of this budget, and then also part of this, and it's as listed, we adopted in this motion the FY27 Finance Committee budget provisions as listed. Do you want me to read all those? Okay, and that's the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Mr. Aviani, do you want to report out on the committee's
Yep,
recommendation?
Yep. The committee, on June 11, 2026, the Finance Subcommittee, motion was made by Counsel Stefanini, seconded by myself, Phil Ottaviani, to approve with the 9 provisions attached. The vote was 4-0-0. Counsel Cannon was there, but his internet froze. That's the only reason the vote was 4-0-0. But that's the report on number 11.
Okay, so, and this is a second reading of the budget as required by the Framingham City Charter. All right, anything else from you as a report, Mr. Aviani? Any comments?
Not on that item,
the
nope.
committee? Okay, does the administration wish to say anything?
Just that this is the same budget that you reviewed a few weeks ago and voted to in the first reading and send it on to the council for a second reading. It's balanced budget of $398 million based on tax levy of 3.5% and the use of $10 million in free cash.
Okay. Any discussion from the council? Okay, seeing none, I do have members of the public who have signed up, so I will recognize
Mr.
you.
Ward raised his hand, Counsel King.
Oh, no, we go first, so you want to go? Go ahead.
So I want to just have a quick question, because I've gotten a couple emails, and I think through you, Chair, this will be directed to the mayor. In the budget document where it says add one sustainability coordinator at halftime, that is the chief sustainability officer position, correct? It's just not listed correctly, or?
No, that's the new position that mandated by the charter.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to confirm for people that had emailed us that even though it says sustainability coordinator, the title is going to be changed. That is the chief sustainability officer position. Great. So I think, we've gone through a pretty long and winding budget process here, and in many ways, I think it's been imperfect. And part of that is because of how the process takes place, and part of that is around how members of the city council can engage in it. The process takes place, for the most part, at the Finance Subcommittee, and so it's challenging for those not on that committee to be able to engage in it. I do commend the Finance Subcommittee. I think they met 10 times in the last 5 weeks, and so that was, it was a lot of work watching all those meetings, so I can't imagine prepping and doing all of them. And I also commend the mayor and the CFO for the reductions they recommended and proposed. I think we didn't ask, we asked for a lot, and I applaud and appreciate the work that both of them did, the whole leadership team did to get us here. I think the way our budget process is set up, we're not necessarily able to add more in. We're only able to cut other than the schools. And I think there's been a lot of cut across the city departments, and so I'm not planning to propose anything more there. I do want to have a conversation about the school department budget, and I appreciated the conversation that took place at the school committee meeting after our last meeting. I do think it would have been more helpful to hear what positions, if any, would have been helpful to be added back in, because I think in some ways we've done a good job in some places of protecting programs that make Framingham unique and desirable to families, and that will hopefully keep families in the district, whether it's our drama programs, whether it's our dual language programs. But I think there's more that we need to do to continue to make Framingham Public Schools a place that families want to send their kids to. And so for me, that is doing more to protect that diversity and equity of our schools through some of the ESL teacher positions that are proposed to be cut. It's continuing to address some of the behavioral challenges through the behavioral interventionist positions that have been proposed to be cut. And I also think it's proposed protecting programs like SAGE that are unique to our district and are real value adds for some of our families. And so I know there's probably going to be comments from others, but I would like to ask the mayor if he'd be willing to consider an increase to his school budget line item. And my motion would be to increase it by $957,082, which would reinstate the SAGE positions, the 3 middle school restoration interventionist positions, and half of the proposed ESL teacher positions cut from the 31 most recent cuts, which would be a Framingham Public School budget allocation of $188,175,530. So that would be a motion I would make.
So what's the motion?
It's of the 31 positions that are additionally being cut or proposed to be cut that were discussed at the last school committee meeting. It's to reinstate the SAGE positions, the 3 middle school restoration interventionist positions, and half of the ESL teacher positions. It's 7 of the 14 that have been proposed to be cut in that 31, which is a total of $957,082 on top of what had previously been allocated, for a new total of $188,175,530.
Is there a second?
Yes,
Second.
I'll second.
Who second? So, so this is the issue. The city council cannot raise the budget.
But we can ask.
There is a particular instance where the city council can raise the school budget, and that's if you invoke the special act and 2/3 vote, and the amount is recommended by the school committee. But the only amounts recommended by the school committee votes are the agreement to the vote that's presented and the original amount of 100 and, sorry. The original amount, which we'd have to get, is not actually in their motion. So they didn't recommend the amount that you just moved.
So you might be right on some of the semantics there. I'm not sure. I know the school committee in their motion asked for the restoration up to their original budget amount or as many positions as could be reinstated.
That's correct, yeah.
So I think there is some.
Just to be clear, it's not semantics, it's state law.
No, okay, yeah,
So, I mean, we can only, we only can do what the state law allows, or the vote becomes meaningless anyway. So,
I think that's also, and once again, I don't know how this is operationalized. It's under the assumption that the mayor is not supporting, if we're voting against the mayor's proposal for the budget
Oh, is that
number.
what your motion is? Are you making this motion under the special act, or are you making a motion to ask the mayor to do something? Maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah, so my first ask was if the mayor would be willing to accept that. I was interested in making that motion.
So I guess I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be difficult.
No, it's fine.
I just don't, what is your motion specifically? What motion are you putting on the table right now?
So the way I just worded that was, if the mayor is willing to raise his budget number, I would like to propose that it be raised to this amount.
Okay, but he has not done that.
Well, if
I mean, he has to submit, again, I apologize for the technical aspects of it, but there has to be a formal process here, otherwise the vote doesn't count, because there's a state law that speaks to this.
So, I mean, we can either help try to find a way to make this a legitimate
Yeah, you
motion,
can-
or people can vote against it and vote against the budget. I don't know how
Right now, there won't be voted on because it's not in order.
So I'm trying to find a way to make.
You'd have to move the school committee number under the special act.
Then
I'm
that's
sure.
what that's what I guess I'm doing.
Okay. All right. Do you know what that number is? I don't have that number. I thought I did, but I don't.
Well, I'm not doing the school committee's full number. I'm doing the $188,175,530.
But
I think in past years, they've given ranges that they were hoping this city council would land to, and in this case, they asked us up to as many positions as they could, up to a certain number.
Right.
Mr.
They've
Chairman, that's not what
voted.
they asked us, though. The vote that
What's that?
came to us was the number.
Right, they voted 187,418,448, which I believe is the number that's in the current budget. They voted that by an 8-1 vote. They also added an additional amount that they asked that the school committee continues to recommend the mayor and city council fund the budget that was initially requested and passed on March 4th, 2026 by the school committee, which is, those are the two recommendations. There is no recommendation for your amount, and therefore the amount you're moving can't be on the table because it's not, wasn't requested by the school committee.
So he has to change his motion to that second number. That's a little
Right,
more money.
he can,
That's what you need to
right,
do.
so that would, I mean, even that's a little bit of a stretch, but I would recognize that as in order. But, because the only way the city council can increase the school department budget is by Section 2 of Chapter 329 of the Acts of 1987, if adopted by the city, which we did adopt. We did adopt that about 4 or 5 years ago when we overrode the school committee, the mayor's recommendation for the school committee budget. So we did vote that. But everything is in place under that law, except because what it says is, what that law says, if a city accepts that act, the city council may, by a 2/3 vote, increase the amount recommended by the mayor for the city school department or regional school district, provided that the regional school, city school committee has recommended the increase and that the increase does not make the total budget exceed the property tax limitations imposed in GLC 5921C. So I think, even though it would, you haven't suggested a funding source, I assume it's taxation, so I assume you're adding it on to the 3.5%, right?
Well, that's for all of us to decide, but yeah.
Well, no, you have to cite the source, otherwise it's going to automatically be that.
We surely don't
Sure,
want to take
yeah.
on a
Okay, so that, and that's what the law anticipates, okay? So that,
The law says, and if it comes up against, we have, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Can you read the last sentence of?
Yeah, it does not, yes, no problem. The increase does not make the total budget, which is the total city budget, exceed the property tax limitations imposed in GLC 5921C.
Yeah.
It does not result in a budget that cannot be funded within the city's Proposition 2.5 levy limit.
Which-
So since we have the excess, normally you couldn't do it. Normally you'd have to, is someone saying something?
You're talking in the audience, yeah.
Oh, please. So normally, you would have to reduce the budget if we were up against the levy limit, but since we're not against the levy limit, you can do it. So that part of it is in order. But the issue is the recommended increase. We just can't pick a number out of the sky. We have to either go with the school committee's recommended increase or the mayor's. We just don't have the, under the law, we don't have the ability to just pick any number in between.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think that's a very strict interpretation of, on the recommendation of the school committee. I think the recommendation of the school committee, they recommended all of those funds.
Yes,
but
right, that's what I
recommending
said.
it in part, I think is still within their recommendation. I don't support necessarily the proposal, but I think it's a valid motion for a 2/3 vote.
Well, it doesn't seem, that's not what the law says, but,
not the way I
and that's not what the school committee vote says. But, so, I mean, if we take the vote and it passes and it doesn't fit, it's not going to be valid. So I'm just trying to get a valid motion on the table.
Well, that's, I think, from my perspective, if it's not legal, it's not legal, but that's what I would be attempting to do. What's the other alternative? The full number I don't support, so.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Point of order or a question?
Point of order, Ms. Bryant.
Okay.
Point of order, not a question, because we're still working out the point of order.
Well, I guess point of order is, or. I
Ms.
want-
Bryant, it's a point of order or nothing. So what's the point of order?
Point of order is, I think that, I think we have the right to ask other questions and discuss before we vote on any motion.
Of course we're going to do that, but we need to
All
get
right,
the
just
motion in
be
order
sure.
first. I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I know
trying to
that.
get a
but just to be
motion that,
sure.
so, as I say, we did this a few years ago, and when we did it, it was the exact number that the school committee had recommended. It wasn't a number the city council picked, so I'm not sure. But for the sake of the discussion, I will accept a motion for, what's your amount?
$188,175,530.
And you're making that under the Special Act section?
If
What chapter?
that's all that's available to me, then yes.
Well, that's the only way we can do it.
If that's all that's available to me, then yes.
Okay.
And then do we have to clarify that you're going to raise it to the tax levy?
It has to be, because there's no other place
Just so
for it.
everybody knows perfectly clear from
Right, and
3.5.
there's no other funding mechanism attached to the motion, so it has to be the tax levy. Right, you're not suggesting any other funding mechanism?
I'm not suggesting any other way to do it, but, I mean, this council at some point will decide whether the amount of free cash we allocate. I'm not suggesting that, but that's a council decision, not just for me.
Okay, further discussion on the budget? Ms. Long?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what would the increase of the tax levy be? If we were
So,
to adopt this motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Is that an answer to the question of the tax levy increase?
Yes.
Yes, go
So
ahead.
it sounds like you want to raise about approximately $1 million more from the tax levy, an increase in the tax levy, which would be about 0.5%.
There you go, 4%.
Because a full percent increase in the tax levy generates about $2.3 million. So if you raise it by 0.5% to 4% from the recommended 3.5, you're going to generate a little over $1 million. That would increase the tax on the average home about $80 per year.
so I just did the math. It would be, instead of a 3.5%, it'd be 3.91.
All right, further questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? Ms. Bryant?
So I wanted to know from the mayor, so the consolidation of departments of the Callahan Center, Council on Aging, Veterans Department, under the library, is that all still in place in the budget? There's no changes there?
Mr. Mayor?
That's correct.
Okay, and then, so the 4% increase, oh, and then my question also, I don't know whether this would be for the chair or for Brandon, Councilor Ward. So originally you listed specific programs that you would want the money to go towards this increase for the school committee. But technically, we either raise the money, we either, increase, we're either voting on the motion to increase the amount, but without actually designating where it goes, because we can't. Is that correct, Chair?
That's correct.
Okay.
Ms. Feeney?
Just a question, are we still talking about education, or can we talk about seniors?
Talk
Or
about the budget.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're,
I understand, it's a big budget, so.
just want to make sure we're all on the same
Whole
page
budget's
here.
on- I mean,
All right, thank you. So at the last meeting, I made a motion requesting that the Finance Subcommittee and the mayor explore restoring the Director of Aging Services position in the budget, and it passed 11-0. Do we have an update on that exploration, Mr. Mayor?
No.
Okay. So I've heard a lot from our seniors about this change, and we heard from the Council on Aging today, who sent a letter this afternoon stating, "We respectfully urge the mayor and the city council to explore alternative approaches to addressing the city's fiscal challenges and to reinstate the Director of Aging Services position. Framingham's older residents deserve dedicated leadership and continued investment in the programs and services that support their health, independence, and quality of life." As far as I'm concerned, the Director of Aging Services just isn't a building manager for the Council on Aging. They're an advocate. They're a service provider. They work alongside their dedicated staff. Seniors deserve a voice in municipal government, and running the Callahan Center is just part of that role. And I was wondering if, Mr. Mayor, if we've considered using the state formula grant that the Council on Aging receives every year from the Commonwealth. And for those folks who don't know, the state formula grant is given to every single Council on Aging in the Commonwealth, and it is $16 per senior. And Framingham is ranked 14th in our senior of a large amount of seniors. And so we have 16,026 seniors, those over the age of 60. Our FY27 grant is $256,000. We've also, this money is carried from year to year, and according to the, bless you, according to the recent city grant spreadsheet, the grant has a surplus as of the end of FY25 of $464,000. So it is also for the FY27, 6 part-time salaries at $126,000 and $20,000 for the needs assessment has been allocated in FY27, which leaves money left in FY27 along with the surplus. And has there been any consideration, Mr. Mayor, to work with the Council on Aging to authorize the position slot and use this money to keep the director at zero cost to the city of Framingham?
The straight answer is no. We're looking into whether that money is available and what its uses, what available uses we can use it for.
Well, it's Council on Aging and the Council on Aging Director are the ones that can do the intent.
The director of the Callahan Center is not the Council on Aging director. Council on Aging is a separate advisory group that doesn't direct the operation of the center, and it has no control or jurisdiction over the director of the Callahan Center.
I understand that the Director of Aging Services, the Council on Aging, this money is given to them to decide on the intent of spending this money. And you can spend this money for leadership and positions as outlined in state, the formula grant language in Massachusetts general law under the Executive Office of Aging and Independent Living. So I would like to make a motion as well. I know we already have
Okay,
a
go ahead.
motion,
No,
but
you can make I'm going to allow multiple
Okay.
amendments here because of the size of the budget and the question you asked at the beginning, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to make a motion that the mayor and the Council on Aging work together to use the state formula grant to reinstate the Director of Aging Services position.
Second.
Okay, other questions, comments about the budget?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Why don't we just go to 5%, call it a day? Cut up the money, half to the schools, half to the city, and we're done. They want the raise, let's just do it, like you said, way back when. You know what? I don't need, I'm all good with you folks, I'm talking up here. It is what it is.
But we can't do that because we can only.
We can't take any more free cash, because we're gonna,
The only
next year, the
place we
problem's
can,
much
the
bigger.
only motion that's even potentially allowable is the one that Mr. Ward made. I'm not sure it is because of the number issue, but
Okay.
we cannot do what you suggest.
I said all along, go to the voters, do 5%, but whatever.
Right, I agree, I think, so I'll make a comment. You know, I appreciate everybody being here, I appreciate the motion of the issue, and I appreciate how difficult this is. I think that, you know, for years now, we have supported the school budget, really exactly the number the school committee has requested. This year has become a very difficult year, there's no question about that. And, you know, I'm not necessarily opposed to the amendment in that, you know, is the impact at this point 3.5, 3.9, 4.1, it probably doesn't make that much of a difference. But I think the school committee has come to a budget resolution, like this city has come to a budget resolution, that fits the number that's being recommended. And that puts us in a position, I think, going forward, in a better position for future years to address these budget shortfalls. Because we're going to have a worse shortfall next year unless I miss my guess totally. And our options are going to, please, can we please, I understand, but comments, please. You all have a chance to speak. But we don't even know what the school department is going to do with this money if we put it back in at this amount. Miss Maskell, stop. Miss Maskell, well, Miss Maskell, can you, yes, you are. You're speaking out of the public meeting when you're not recognized, so please don't do that. Anyways, so we don't know what the school department is even going to do with the money. So that's why it becomes a very difficult situation, and you know, and it's just the impact next year. We have to think about what we're doing. So I had more to say, but I have been my thought process has been interrupted. So I may come back and say something. And Mr. Stephanie, I thought I saw your hand, but then I thought it was a mirage.
Sometimes it feels that way, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to focus back first on the budget and the budget process and how we got to where we are. First, I'd like to thank the mayor for patience, for your industry, and your team. The fact that your CFO is still here is a testament to your skills. In his first week on the job,
He wasn't a plane out of here tonight quick enough.
No. We made sure he signed the contract before we got too far along. Whether he stays for long is a separate issue.
Let's go.
I'm moving. But I want to say thank you, because I think that can't go, we have to start the conversation with that. This has been a less than conventional process. We've probably broken lots of rules and other things through the process, but in good faith and in the spirit of moving the budget process forward. It's a 3.92% increase, a 4% increase. In most fiscal years, a 2.5%, 3% increase in our budget would be considered a good budget. This budget's complicated. The school piece has dealt a lot of it, but I think we have to look at not just what we're looking at. I support our schools. I've always supported our schools and revenues. ESL, so everybody who's looking here, the superintendent of schools talked about ESL teachers. The ratio of ESL teachers to students next year will be the same as last year. I've spoken to three principals at schools who have cuts to ESL teachers. Those ESL teachers don't have students. We lost 757 students, many of them in the ESL area. So it's great that we're hearing we have the stellar ESL program and we're somehow harming it. We're expanding early childhood education this year, which no one has had a chance to talk about because we've been focused on many other things. Our budget has some challenges. The biggest obstacle to our schools, our police, our fire, is our increase in the declining revenue over the next few years. We asked the CFO to look at what does the budget look like over the next 2 years. It's an 11% increase in our risk areas without even getting into anything else. That's our personnel costs. That means we're going to have to raise taxes through an override or through an increased levy limit each of the next few years. Every teacher, every position, every police officer, every firefighter this year needs to be measured against what it's going to cost us next year, which is 2 of those people. Because when we go for an override, it gets up and up and up. So we have to figure out what is sustainable. This idea of using $10 million in free cash, that's like using $10 million out of your savings account to pay your operating expenses. You don't have any money to pay that the next year. None. It's a cliff. It's what got us into trouble with our previous mayor. In the last year of her term, we spent $10 million in free cash, and then the money wasn't there, and we had to spend all of our ARPA money and raise our water and sewer rates by 36%. That's why our water and sewer rates are what they are, because we couldn't figure out how to control ourselves and our spending and the way to deal with it. Our fiscal health is the most important thing to our schools, to our police, to our fire. That has to be paramount in our conversation. If that means we have to be a little bit tighter, we also have invested in our personnel this year, which no one has talked about. We've invested in keeping our teachers, our police officers, our firefighters, by retaining those people, by giving them family-sustaining wages, and by increasing wages above and beyond the cost of living. Energy costs also soaring. Health insurance is up 12% in terms of where we are. We have some work to do. We have some work to do as a community to build support for increasing spending each year. We're going above 2.5 this year, which I think is a testament to a compromise to get us to increase our tax levy. For those folks who'd say go up to 5.5%, that means we're 5.5% this year. That means we're 6.5% or 7% next year, and we're 8 or 9% the year after. Just run the math and look at what the CFO presented to the Finance Committee. For those people who want to spread an alternative dialogue, the facts have to be the facts. And so we need to figure out how we deal with that. Does that mean potentially that you have shifting of positions? Yes, you have 13 people being laid off in the system. I don't like that. One of them is a constituent of mine and a great person, a young teacher. She'll be replaced by a senior ESL teacher. But the students will have the same ratio of ESL students next year that they had last year. And if anybody doesn't believe that, ask the superintendent. Ask the principals at your schools. So I'm glad that we're here emotionally.
Ms. Maskell, if you speak again, I'm going to have you removed. You're not recognized. So if you speak again, you will be removed. Please be polite.
Then shut up.
I respect and appreciate the people who are here, that have written, that have called, and I'm glad that our system enjoys that level of support. My teacher in my district who's being laid off asked me to go meet with her principal. And when I did, the principal said, I'm sorry to lose that person because they are a good person, but I don't have students for that ESL teacher. I'd like to know what the response is to that, other than we should support our ESL program because it's a great program. I support our ESL program, and it is a great program. But let's not let our emotions take the better of us and not think about this in the finances and how we deal with where we are. The Trump administration is going to mean...
We're going to take a brief recess.
Our community, a unique and diverse place, founded on land granted to a farmer from England. We've produced heroes of the American Revolution and Civil War. The home of journalists, abolitionists, inventors and furniture makers, industrialists, and the entrepreneurial spirit that produces world-class products and services. A stretch of Route 9 called the Golden Mile featured international performers and headline entertainers, where groundbreaking medical treatment for our wounded warriors was developed and the most comprehensive study of cardiac care continues. The birthplace of major league competitors that fill us with local pride for our home teams, and a teacher and American icon that soared above the stars. Framingham, how do you stay informed?
Okay, we are back. So I want to make clear, I fully understand the emotion people are feeling about this subject and have been feeling about this subject for the last several months. I understand it. It makes all the sense, okay? However, at the city council level, when we're debating the budget, we have to do it in a respectful parliamentary way. When motions are legal, motions make sense, that type of thing. And that's my job as chairman. So if people speak out who are not recognized, they can be removed. I certainly do not want to do that. I don't want to remove anyone. But that is what's going to happen going forth tonight. If anyone speaks out, I'll return. Everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. You're on the list here. You will be given the opportunity to speak. I assure you, you will be heard, okay? We go through the council deliberations first and allow you to speak on anything you'd like having to do with the budget, and that will occur. But if you speak out of order, that will not happen, and you will not be staying here. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm almost done. I wanted to highlight a couple of other things. In addition to expanding continue to expand our efforts around early childhood education, we're expanding our efforts to repave our roadways, which is of critical importance to our residents. We've done some things like regionalizing our dispatch. We've put in renewed effort to economic development with our first ever approved economic development plan. And for those who look at the connection of all these things, our economic development is lagging. As our economic development lags, our new revenue to deal with things is not there. Marlboro, Waltham, Natick, our economic competitors, have much more new growth than we do to deal with those things. And we've got to figure out some of those things. Long-range planning. The best part of our new CFO is his experience, his passion around long-range planning. And we've already seen some of the benefit of that by projecting what our next couple of budgets will look like at just maintenance, but also engaging in long-range planning, and some of the things that the chairman talked about will put that in motion. Are there risks in this budget? Yes, there are risks in this budget. We've also done some creative things. Some of them people like, some not so much so. We put in fractional vacancies, where we took a savings of $1.1 million out of a series of our larger budgets to be able to spend more of that money on education, on police, on fire. One of the risks that, to me, there are two areas that I think the risks have pushed us to the limit. One, we talked, and a lot of this we talked about at the Finance Subcommittee. One is on dealing with our public health nurses and our indigent population. And the second is around Mary Dennison Park. We're opening a brand-new facility. We're spending $40 million. The Park Department had recommended that we look at 6 to 8 new positions for it. The mayor has recommended no positions for this. I know it's something we're looking at, Mr. Mayor, so I'm not, to be fully disclosed, but it opens in August, and I am concerned that that is a risk that is just not being addressed. Chapter 44, Section 33, in addition to the provision relative to schools we talked about, also enables the council to request from the mayor something that was not included in the budget, and then by a majority vote, and after 7 days, the council may vote by a 2/3 vote to fund those positions if they're not funded. This is other than schools. And so I would move in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 33, which authorizes the council to request the mayor include funding for matters not included in the budget, to fund 3 positions in the Park Department to maintain the Mary Dennison Park, which opens in August of this year after a $40 million capital improvement.
Second.
Okay. That's not an appropriation, it's just a request.
Yes, it would be a letter from us to the mayor.
Correct. Okay. Any other comments, questions about the budget from the council? Mr. Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody, for the comments, and I regret that I can't be there in person with you this evening. I appreciate Councilor Stefanini pointing out the ESL ratios. I think a lot of the substance has gotten lost in the discussion, and it gets lost in the emotion, and some of that is human nature, and it's all well-intentioned, but some of it is disappointingly political. There's been a lot of thoughtful discussion from the school department and the school committee to the finance subcommittee, all public, but it's easy for someone to walk away from a meeting being told, well, we're cutting all this ESL, we're doing this, we're doing that, but Councilor Stefanini actually summed it up really well. If those ESL ratios are the same, it's reflecting a very, very significant drop in student population. And what we go out of our way to fund now that does not have an academic need is a more painful financial decision tomorrow for the following fiscal year. And I agree that the increases in the growth in early childhood ed has probably not received the attention publicly that it should. So I will honor the commitment that the superintendent has made. When the superintendent says, guys, we can run the school department for this amount of money, and we agree to that, I got to trust the guy that we hired to do the job. So I trust that number. When, and it's brilliant politically. You'll never lose an election going out of your way to say, we're just going to spend and spend and spend on education, because politically it makes all the sense in the world. But I appreciate that the fact that we're having a thoughtful discussion about, well, wait a minute, we're maintaining the ESL ratios, and we're increasing early childhood education. And it was reflective of a very significant drop. Our school budget is tens of millions of dollars higher in a year than it was only a handful of years ago. And the Financial Times were different then. Our municipal budget is $100 million more than it was when we became a city, give or take, ballpark. We're not going to be able to sustain that. And when I hear from the limited number of folks in that room there who have governed during very difficult financial downturns, I really worry about next year because, now we're being asked to fund positions that don't have students in that motion. But next year, it might be more dire. So those are my comments. I agree with the sentiment about the Council on Aging, that elder, I think the community is on the same page, the seniors are on the same page. I think structuring it under libraries is a wise move. I think there's a lot of cross synergy there, cross pollination, but I think you need someone running the Callahan Center day to day. So I don't know that the volunteer board is the body there that can best articulate what that solution is, but I think, in an attempt to minimize the budget as much as possible. Perhaps that was something that was not as carefully choreographed as it could have been. As for the parks thing, I'm a little unclear about what that motion is, because is it a request? I agree we need to, I think the staff is there in place, but perhaps may need to be reallocated somewhere. The number is right, but the resources may need to be reallocated. So I appreciate the discussion and the thoughtfulness and the passion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other comments, Ms. Bryant?
Yes, this is directed to the mayor, and again, it's about the Callahan Center. It's about our seniors, which are the baby boom population. So even though the numbers that Councilor Feeney quoted, which were big enough, the greater population of Framingham, so many seniors, everywhere, still get value from the center. They do. And also, I just want to say that this is one of the, if not the most non-political, one of the most non-political centers, organizations, and the center and the Council on Aging departments or whatever in Framingham, but also brings people together. It reminds people, especially our seniors, that Framingham is a town/city that does not cast aside people, but continues to see value in people. It is just as much their city as it ever was, just as much as for the younger people. And we help, and they help. And people who may have been in their younger years or outside of the center may have their own political ideas. That has nothing to do, they do not come into the center. The center, all the seniors know, it is only about the works that seniors need, would like to do, anything that's going to improve the quality of life for them and help them to continue to be active, vibrant participants and safe in Framingham, and helping their families to help care for them. The people there, under Randy's leadership, his attitude has permeated and become embedded in the center. It's inviolable, their atmosphere, the work they do, compassionate, selfless. They are dedicated. He is dedicated, and it would be really a crime and immoral to, not a crime, but immoral to use people and then cast them aside after they've, done great work and built great work. And especially when the population served, which is great in Framingham, I think they know best that they do need to continue to have the director there. So I'd say put aside any ideas about the individuals, because when they start working there, since their work there is nothing more than about seniors and what they need. And that's what brings people together in a city. They don't have to know anybody in particular. They don't have to agree. They don't have to know what anybody else thinks about anything. They're collectively, it's there for the seniors' benefit and their needs. And it's been doing an excellent job. People from other towns and cities call in and get advice. The level of support and things, programs for seniors and the social work, all of it, that other centers and other cities and towns also check in and confer and get advice. It makes Framingham a leader, and I just implore, let's not destroy that.
Okay. All right, Mr. Alexander?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just wanted to reiterate my gratitude to everybody that's been in this very arduous, difficult process that started a couple months ago. And as you know, I'm an educator in another community, so I'm definitely sitting in the I have the advantage of sitting in the perch, but then I'm in the trenches too, alongside with our fellow teacher colleagues, and so I understand both sides of the fence. But I just want to make clear, at least this council wants to make clear that tonight really we're putting the stakes in the ground for our priorities, and our schools, our seniors, along with vets, and public safety, to me, are the key paramount pillars of this community, and that I'm willing to go to bat for anytime and every time. And I understand that they're not, revenue generating enterprises and anything, but like I said, every community has to make their stance and their stake in the ground, and I believe that's where ours should lay. And I believe these groups are, the most treasured and vulnerable in many ways, but there are bread and butter. But we also have to recognize that we're in some very difficult financial straits. So as many people that are here and beyond watching that are in favor of tax increases, but we have to be constant, and I think our chair has made that clear plenty of times, that we have to play that fence and not heavily tax people that can't afford it. But there are a great number of people here that can't afford that. So we need to strike that balance, and we need to make sure we shave these numbers the right way, so that we can deliver on our priorities and our promises. And as far as I'm concerned, I see it in schools every day that what these special programs, whether it's ELA and two-way language and gifted and stage, those type of things, that those will deliver dividends in the future. It's something that we cannot see right now, but we have to, like I said, make that line in the sand and go with what we know what's best to do for our people. So that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to hopefully bring the temperature in the room down, other than opening the doors. But that's kind of what I wanted to put out, and I hope everybody that's the North Star here. Thank you.
Janet?
So I just wanted to also just add in my comments. We've been asking the mayor for the last few years to try to find consolidations, try to merge departments. We've been, every year, we say you're not cutting enough, or not cutting, but trying to combine resources, because the taxes are keep going up. And so as the city council, we have to sit up here and make the decisions based on the recommendations that we get from the different departments, and then the CFO works with the mayor. And I appreciate the school committee. I know a lot of them are my really good friends, and I know that they've worked really hard. And I know that their number is, higher than where we are. And I think that in a perfect world, it would be great to just, fund, continue to, fund, and, but where would it end? And so I think that we have to be reasonable here, and city councilors, because, you guys are all here, a lot of folks are here as teachers, teachers and parents and supporters, and we all have kids in the schools or just out of the schools or grandkids. And my mother was a teacher, former teacher for many, many years. So I don't think that we're, in favor of not giving the schools what they want. And we also have to deal with the fact that we have a lot of seniors and we have a lot of folks that have reached out about the tax increases, because everything's going up. Just look at the gas, everything from gas to food. The only thing that's not going up for them is their income. So many of us can afford a 3.5% tax increase, but a 4% tax increase, I understand if young parents with kids would be like, yes, let's just raise them to the max. And I get that as parents, 100%. But we also have to look at the whole picture. And that's the part that's hard for us sitting up here. And I'm sure a lot of the parents, are like, well, just fund the schools. And it's like, when the schools, when Bob first gave us the budget, it was $15 million more than last year. Rightfully so, everything's going up, but we also lost close to, 750, 800 kids. So we're kind of looking at the picture. If we have less kids to educate, there's less money that we have to give. And I know that we've come back and forth, and I know that Bob is, worked really hard here, and I know that it's closed, and it's unfortunate that there is still the gap between the school committee and the mayor, because this is not a good position for us to be in. So if we just say yes, another $1 million, the problem is that money has to come from somewhere, and so if we can't find it somewhere else in the budget, that means that we're gonna go to the very people that are in this room and to the very people that are out there that can't afford a 4.5% or 4% tax increase on top of the $10 million that were taken out of basically our bank account, because then next year we're not going to have that free cash. So, John's right with some of the things that he was saying, that this year is going to, probably be our best year. Next year, I'm more afraid, and I'm even more afraid for the following year. So I just need people to understand that I understand the parents, and the teachers' thoughts, and then the school committee as well, but it's a really tough decision that we're in here, because, at what end do we keep saying yes? And even though we'd want to. Anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Anyone else in the council want to speak as to the budget? Okay. Go ahead.
Or I can speak after.
No, go ahead. No, I'm going to take the public, then I'm going to take a vote, so go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to make the point that we've spent time in the last 2 years sitting up here and heard from the superintendent. And some of those times, they were tough conversations. We were talking about behavior in our schools. We were talking about performance in our schools. I'm a product of Framingham Public Schools. I went through the school system. I was a member of the SAGE program. I see the value in these programs. I'm sure I know everyone up here has connections to the schools as well. It's a dagger when I hear from someone that they're pulling their kids out of our schools, that they're considering pulling our kids out of our schools. And I hear it more than I would like. And part of the way we solve that, part of the way we invest in our community, part of the way we make our community a place people want to come, is we invest in our schools. That's what people see. That's what, and this argument in some ways is beyond the point, because it's not talking about the kids and the services they need, but frankly, if we're worried about the financial stability and desirability of our community, there is no better investment than this type of investment in our schools. And we're not talking about a ridiculous request. Right now, the mayor's budget has a 2.2% increase in the school budget. Even with my amendment, it's a 2.7% increase over last year. This is not a huge increase. I get that we've lost students. And I'm not sure who Counselor Stefanini has spoken to in terms of some of the principals. I get that we've lost some need for ESL services. There's still a huge need for ESL support services in our schools. There will not be ESL teachers twiddling their thumbs in the break room. I can guarantee you that. If anything, this is the type of, I get it, it's a balancing act, but I just think this is the best investment we can make at this time in our community, and I think it's a reasonable investment to ask that we make.
Okay. Anybody else? Ms. Bryant?
Sorry, okay, there. I just wanted to say that the Callahan Center and the Council on Aging is the equivalent of the school is for our young people, and that center and the way it has been run is for the people who pay taxes their whole life in Framingham, most of them, and so I think that we don't want to shortchange them. Or our veterans. And as for synergy and combining, I think that you want to combine things that have like work or something, perhaps grounds for schools and either DPW and facility, or bring some synergy there, right? Some things that maybe can overlap in the work. I wouldn't say, I'd be hard pressed, you'd have to show me that like you don't need both of them, but I think we could reduce some, not DPW because they're already short-staffed anyway, but maybe HR, the city's HR, maybe there is something, some synergy or something that they could take on from the schools, whatever. I mean, you look at it, you present options and things like that, but when it comes to respecting and providing a quality of life for those who've worked and paid into Framingham, and their taxes supported everything in Framingham too. I think that they deserve to have it like it was, the way they like it, the way that it's taking care of them, and so that's all I would say. I'd say that is equally important.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So just to add to the library, the merge, because it's been brought up. So I was at the senior center a couple days after the mayor, again, we're telling the mayor to merge, try to, consolidate, and I think he does. And, I actually think it's a really great move. I think that the libraries, the seniors and the veterans have so much commonality and are, so when I went to the meeting, they had the Friends of the Callahan, they have the Council on Aging Board that is an appointed board by the mayor, and then they have the Friends of Callahan, which is a group, right now Mary McGill is the president, chairman, and it was formerly Mark Goldman, and it's a great group. So I went to the meeting a handful of days after the merger had come out, and it was confusing, and I think a lot of people were, upset that they didn't know about it, and it kind of had come out at this finance subcommittee meeting, so I think it had kind of broke before it was really ready, and so I think that that was part of the problem, and I think that, the mayor had said, it was sort of, how it rolled out. So a few days later, I was at the Council on Aging, the Callahan, Friends of Callahan meeting, and they had John is the library director who is going to be overseeing the department, so it's going to be the libraries, veterans, and the seniors. And Chris, the VSO, was there, as was Dawn, and they were talking about the commonalities between the three departments, and they were talking about how they want to set up events for veterans. And, by the end of the meeting, I mean, they had already come up with multiple ideas what they were going to be doing. They share the expectations to share resources, to find veterans that are maybe alone and don't have a way to get to the Callahan Center, because maybe they don't know enough about it. There was a lot of excitement in the room, and the seniors were very, very encouraged, and the ones that knew Dawn, and I think that, if you know Dawn, you would feel you would have a lot more, faith in, the system. And I think if you don't know her, I think you might be a little more, leery of, how this is all going to work. But they were already getting to work just a couple of days, after this whole thing had, been presented. And I think that there are definitely some concerns, and I did talk with a lot of the Callahan, some of the COA members, and I talked to many of the library trustees, and totally understand like their concerns. But I think that personally, just seeing the seniors, I think that if you talk to some of the seniors, you will see that they, and I'm not speaking for all of them, but the ones that when I was down there and I was at that meeting, and I have since talked to some other Council on Aging members, I think that this is a good thing. So I just wanted to leave my comments there. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to speak one more time. I was I was not articulating it as well as I should have earlier. First, as far as the city side is concerned, I think the mayor has done what he's been asked to do. For that reason, I support his reorganization. I also think it is well thought out. Ultimately, do we need somebody else at the Callahan Center? Maybe, and if we do, I would be supportive of that. But I'd rather have the library director who will be overseeing that make those determinations what the best way to do that entire thing is. Same with the park department. Same with the idea of Mary Dennison. I agree from everything I've been told. It is going to need some staffing there, but I'm not sure exactly what the best way to do it is, but I get that. But I am willing to let the mayor be the executive and his staff be the executive who decides how to run the operation on the money that's appropriated to them. So I appreciate their efforts. I know it's been a difficult year for them, and it's been a difficult year for everybody. The people sitting in the audience, I understand that. Those of us sitting here, especially those of us who are on the finance subcommittee, it's been challenging. As far as the school thing, again, it's a very difficult situation. I'm not going to sit here and, try to convince anyone of my own school support bona fide, so to speak. But, I've had a long history. I guess I'll do it anyway. So I've had a long history, in this city. And, I went to the schools here many years ago, and it was a great education. My kids went to the schools here. My kids were in the SAGE program. I get it, okay? I do get it. And I remember when my kids were in the schools in the early 2000s, times were tough and the budgets were tough, and it was scary as a parent, and I remember that. I remember that clearly. But somehow people persevered, and I think the school department and the school administration will do that. The challenge you have here is, to me, I don't really understand what a $1 million, I understand the idea. I don't comprehend what a $1 million difference at this point makes, really either way. Because we don't decide how they spend it. They can do what they would like. If you really look at the school department budget and see what's spent, in my opinion, there's other areas you could save $1 million and do the things that's being proposed by Mr. Ward. But there doesn't seem to be a desire to do that. So that's where it becomes so challenging, especially with the schools. We're not the experts. We don't know the line by line. And, we can see the line by line, but we don't make those decisions. The school committee makes those decisions. And I just don't buy that, the school committee makes those decisions. So whatever we do with this money, even if we appropriated this money, I'm not sure what would happen with it. So I really do believe that a more comprehensive, I believe we'll be okay this year. And I believe there's real danger in the future. I really do. And that can be saved, I think, but it's going to, because we're not going to have free cash. I just don't see how we're going to have the free cash to spend next year. That already starts in the deficit. So, I think we need to figure out whether we want to spend the excess tax money and do that in a way that gets broad input, and that would be one bit of information, I think, that would be helpful for making decisions like these. So I appreciate, again, everybody coming. I understand how difficult it is for people, especially when you're advocating for a specific, whether it's schools, whether it's seniors, whether it's libraries, whether it's public safety or anything else? Okay. All right, seeing no other counselors.
Chair.
Ms. Bryant, you've already spoken twice. I've limited just
I know,
everybody
this
to
is-
talk. You have
this is point
15
of
seconds. The
clarification.
Roberts Rules allows 2 times.
Counselor, thank you. Counselor Bruno said that if a person knew Dawn, we would feel differently. I do know Dawn, and I like her very well, but and the people at
Okay.
these centers, they were polite and they will try to do it, but they have all written and called and told everybody that
Okay,
it's
Ms.
not
Bryant,
a
you've
good
made the
idea.
point, and you're speaking for a third time. I said I'm not going to recognize people for
Oh,
a
I was
third
just
time.
making the point that I do know Dawn.
Okay, well,
and I
that's-
don't think that we should.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bryant.
Make decisions,
Point
reorganization
of-
decisions based on people.
Point of information.
Yes, please.
I wasn't implying that since, if you know Dawn and she's nice, that means that she can do the job. That was,
Okay.
that had nothing to do with whether you liked her or not. It was her competency and just her ability as a leader. So just want to put that out there.
Yeah, she's
Okay,
great like
thank
that,
you.
but she has the least experience
Okay.
out of all 3 of the.
Ms. Bryant, please. Okay, so now we come, councils are done, now we come to public participation. I have 7 people signed up on this list. Are there anybody, and I'm going to get to Zoom in a minute, is there anybody in this room who wants to speak who is not signed up on the list? Can you raise your hands high so I can see how many people those are? So that's 3 more on each side. Okay, so I guess that's up to 13. And then, if you're on Zoom, could you please raise your hand if you want to speak on the budget, your virtual hand if you want to speak on the budget? Okay, I see 4 people on Zoom, so I will not be adding additional people. 6, all right, hold on. Anybody else going once on Zoom? Going twice. All right, so we have 6 on Zoom, 6 in the room, and 7 on the list. That's 20 people. We'll give everybody 90 seconds. It's going to be enforced, okay? 90 seconds. Like this is a half hour for public participation, and then we will vote on these items, okay? Ms. Masco, the rules still apply, even though the public is speaking. Okay, so I'm going to start on the list. Emily? Thank you, I appreciate it.
I'm not good with Italian names.
That's my husband. All right, so I want to shorten this. So when you talked about ratios, I would just say that you're implying that the ratios that we had at last year were perfect, that we got all the students, everybody got what they needed. There's still holes, right? We're still not performing where we want to perform. There's still students that need help. So just, looking at this budget, I'm advocating that you approve the additional amount that the school council is asking. They're doing it to keep these student-facing positions that are incredibly important. All 3 of my children have services. They have it for ADD, they have it for dyslexia, they have it for autism, they have it for SAGE. It is vital to their success that those are still there. Sorry, because I'm going off track because we have less time. Okay, so, I don't see them making the progress that they have made without those. I don't see them, my son that's autistic, if he doesn't have those supports in the classrooms, I don't know if he's gonna be able to stay in a traditional classroom. It's just super important to invest in our kids. You're saying that all these kids left. I'm sad that they all left, but there are kids here and they still matter. Their voices matter, our voices matter. What else do I want to pull out of this? Sorry, I had it all written. Okay.
You have 15 seconds.
So, like I said, I would just focus that all these services that you're talking about really make a difference. And you're talking about, the fiscal plans, attracting people to the community, that's going to help our bottom line. And people come for schools. That is a big factor when people look at where they're going to move. So let's make them as best as we can and support those kids that need the support. My kids are fortunate that they have 2 very supportive
Time is
parents at
up,
home.
but thank you.
Others don't.
Thank you very much. Matthew Corcoran, 90 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Matthew Corcoran. I'm speaking on behalf of the Framingham Board of Library Trustees. The Framingham Board of Library Trustees supports the FY27 library budget as presented and appreciates both the city's continued investment in library services and in particular the City Council's decision to restore funding for weekend library hours. In moving forward, the board expects that as the conversation around proposed restructuring continues, that there will be meaningful discussions with the trustees and careful consideration of the operational governance, state compliance, and long-term impact that restructuring of this scale could have on the library and on the community that it serves. We recognize the difficult fiscal decisions facing the council. The proposed budget demonstrates continued commitment to the library as a valued resource for the residents of Framingham. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corcoran. Ms. Maskell? Ninety seconds.
I stand here tonight as a parent, a former school committee member, Walsh PTO vice principal, someone who cares deeply about Framingham Public Schools. I have one simple question. Why aren't you doing everything possible for our kids? Over the past several months, the school committee has already cut 81 positions, so stop talking about the 757 students that are gone. We've already accounted for that. And yet, here we are again, all of us fighting for the 31 positions that are still up to be cut. They're not numbers on a spreadsheet. They're teachers who support our students, inspire them, challenge them, and help them succeed every day. And beyond the numbers, look at what this process has done to our schools. It's eroded our schools, it's eroded our trust, and it's damaged morale. Educators have spent months wondering whether they'll have jobs. Students have watched trusted adults disappear. Families have endured uncertainty after uncertainty. So I ask you directly, why aren't you fighting harder for our schools? Why aren't you looking for ways to save these positions? Why aren't our kids worth it? So I ask you to look at those, look harder. My son Drayden wanted to be here tonight.
10 seconds, Ms.
But he
Maskell.
couldn't because he was at a rehearsal. He was spending his evening in a theater program learning confidence, teamwork, leadership, and how to use his voice. The arts taught him that. And so tonight, I'm here because he's not using my voice for
Thank
him.
you. Your time is up, Ms. Maskell. Thank you. Ann Przinski.
Good evening. My name is Ann Przinski, and I'm a resident of District 4. I have 2 children in the Framingham Public Schools in 1st grade and 4th grade. I'm here tonight to ask you to approve the school committee's request for an additional $2 million in funding. The cuts we are discussing are beyond a reduction in enrollment, but are the result of years of apparent financial mismanagement of the City of Framingham's budget. Now that the consequences of this undertaxing are abundantly clear, our children are being forced to pay the price. I wanted to comment on the point about ESL that was raised earlier. There have been reductions in enrollment, yes. There may be some educators that are not in the right place as a result of that. But just because there are people that may need to be moved around does not mean that all of the needs are met. The schools were asked to make impossible cuts to meet a budget, and they did. But that doesn't mean that those roles are not needed. The cuts to SAGE are not about the lack of need. They're about the school district saying we have to cut something because we're being asked to. I urge you to look at the long-term math. Families with children are not just a line item in a school report. We represent a deeply invested, highly active segment of our local voting base.
You have 15 seconds.
Parents are a uniquely motivated demographic. When we enter the voting booth, we're thinking about our children's safety, our children's classrooms, and our family's future in the city. In order to keep families in Framingham, you have to fund the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Zena Kais? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Zena Qais, and I'm a District 1 resident and a parent of 2 elementary students in the Framingham Public Schools. I understand that Framingham is facing a budget deficit and that difficult choices must be made, but I want to be clear that these additional cuts that are being discussed are not happening because there are fewer students. They're happening because of a city budget shortfall. And while enrollment may fluctuate, the needs of the students in our schools do not. The district has already absorbed significant reductions, resulting in the loss of 81 educator positions. Additional cuts would mean even fewer resources for the students who remain. I can't speak from personal experience about every program being affected, but I can speak about SAGE because I have 2 children in the program. SAGE is not simply an enrichment opportunity or a privilege. It's a service designed to meet identified student needs, just as other support services are designed to meet the needs of other learners. Our SAGE teacher is currently shared between 2 schools, and with the additional cuts, the same teacher would serve 3 elementary schools across the city, which means less time with students, less collaboration with teachers, and more time spent traveling between schools, which inevitably reduces the quality of the service being provided. Please choose our schools, prioritize our students. Strong schools are not an expense. They are an investment in our community, our economy, and our future. Please make our student a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bowles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Robert Bowles, District 4. I've been speaking here for over 30 years. I just want to make a simple comment tonight. We are down close to 770 students in the enrollment for 2027. That should warrant any cuts alone. We should honor Dr. Trembley's budget and get Bethany going full steam to save tax dollars in the future and get back to neighborhood schools, like they described at the last school meeting as community schools. In my opinion, neighborhood schools, which everyone was going to gung-ho about. And I have met with every superintendent going back to Gene Thayer, and Bob and Ed Gottgard and Dr. Hergy are the best ones we had. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Weiss.
Good job.
Yeah. It's green print on yellow paper, so it's challenging.
Awesome. No, you did great. Hi, my name is Jennifer Weech-Delaney. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm going to speak really fast so I can get it all in. I'm a Framingham resident in District 2, a parent of a Dunning Elementary School student, and my husband and I are both social workers. He's a school social worker in a different district. And we've both worked in schools and with elders. These are social work positions that are being discussed as being cut at the Callahan Center and in schools in the form of roles like restoration specialists. Mental health providers, social workers, teachers, we're low-hanging fruit, and I can assure you our salaries are not breaking the budget. Our value to society is often preventative, and it is an investment. And we do provide enormous economic value that often goes under-researched and under-documented. You can't necessarily count how many people don't fall into dire straits, don't get involved in legal issues, and don't die by suicide because of the interventions. The less education, health, social service supports that the more public health issues and expenses communities will face. So let's not be short-sighted, and let's not make short-term plans and short-term pain to preserve our savings. There were more families here earlier, but kids had to get to bed and had to get fed, and I think a lot more people would be here if they didn't feel the powerlessness of what's happening to education in this country and trickling down to the local level. I felt that way until I received an email from Adam Freiberg, and I realized we have options. We have different ways of tackling these issues.
You have 15 seconds, okay.
Thank you. We can save these positions, and we can trust our wonderful school committee and our superintendent and our principals to make good decisions for our school. So I'm asking us to please do what we can, because schools are a place, they're the heart of the community, they're extensions of our family that offer nurturing, socialization, safety, belonging, education, equal opportunities for kids with diverse experiences and learning needs, and we need to preserve this. So I speak on behalf of the 9,000 students and families in this community that need these services. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to go to Zoom for 6 people, then I'll come back to the room for the 6 people who had their hands up previously. So we'll start on Zoom with Mr. Sullivan. Go ahead. You have 90 seconds.
Brian Sullivan, District 4. I'm against the elimination of the Callahan director. Seems to be it's all for this reorg where no one seems to have any of the specifics. They don't. It seems to be very much like seems like let's make it up as we go. It just seems to be a poor approach. Councilor Feeney just made a very interesting suggestion, I think, which would not have impacted the Framingham taxpayer. And it's a creative idea. I keep hearing how the reorg is supposed to be a creative idea, but I'll tell you, Ms. Feeney's idea is way more creative. And it seems to be potentially real as opposed to the smoke. So, I saw no interest from the mayor, and I think the mayor should really look at it. Our seniors get a crumb of the budget every year, and now we're still nibbling away at that crumb. And many of you make campaign promises all the time, or sayings, or you put it on your cards saying how important seniors are. But as soon as the election is over, the seniors get shorted again. And I do have one question with a quick potential follow-up. Last year's compensation schedule had 3 employees that weren't funded in the Callahan last year. They were all 0.5 FTEs. This year, they seem to be funded, but they've been moved from a 0.5 to a 0.49. So can someone explain what the town is getting, or why did we go from, what happens with a 0.5 to a 0.49?
So, Mr. Sullivan, we don't take questions during public participation, but we will try to get you that information, or if you want to email our office, we will get you that information.
Well, then I guess I'll make my quote based on the fact that my assumption is it's doing something to cut bennies. And so to me, these are low-paying spots already, and if someone will take a lower-paying job to get good benefits, but if you're killing the benefits and you're having low pay, I don't expect too many people to go for these jobs. So really, it seems kind of disingenuous to sit there and say you're putting these jobs out there.
Your time is up. Thank you, though.
Congratulations on wearing.
Next from Zoom is Rebecca Lawrence.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please. You have 90 seconds.
Rebecca Lawrence, District 1. First, whether the ESL to staff ratio is the same as last year. I'd be very interested to see those specific numbers by school, because I can say the level of support our students will be receiving at Fuller will not be the same as in previous years. I speak from my school in particular. First, we lost 13.3% of our staff. And now with the additional positions listed, we will be at over 18%. For a school in turnaround to take this amount of staff, which goes way beyond the loss of students, is akin to setting us up to fail. All of the work we have put in over the last 3 years, you're proposing to erase in one foul swoop. The staff specifically listed in this latest round, ESL teachers, restoration staff, and DEI coach, are those who specifically work on connections with students who struggle. These are students who need our help. These are students who have been making progress. When they return next year and those staff members are no longer at Fuller, their progress will be detrimentally affected. For ESL students, the progress they've been making will be slowed or if not stopped completely. We see it happen. When they don't get the supports they need and they do not understand what is happening in their classes, they often shut down, feel frustrated and incapable, and they don't even want to try. The DEI and restoration positions are much needed additions that took years to establish. These positions were piloted at our school and they have worked. Our DEI coach is the only one in the district, and the work
You have 15 seconds, Ms. Lawrence.
We need to increase this position with our diverse population. They make a huge difference to many, many students. Are we willing to risk the dire consequences and deal with it later after we lose more amazing staff members that we can't get back?
Thank you. Your time is up, Ms. Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bloomfield.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Bloomfield, you got 90 seconds. Go.
90 seconds. Well, thank you very much. I said you people like to talk a lot. The people are trying to tell you something, then really see what's going on. They're trying to deliver a message to you people. You just, bypass them in terms of, well, we don't really need that. You just keep on repeating stuff that you like to hear. But you people are not doing a good job, period. End of story. There's sacrifices that are being made. There's people that are getting laid off. Those are real sacrifices. You know who's not sacrificing? Our employees. They're not sacrificing. Our people, our residents are sacrificing. Their conditions are going up. And there's a lot of concerns. And the reorg was ridiculous, if you want to know the truth. It made no sense. It wasn't handled correctly. And you people pushed the mayor to do this, that, and the other thing, and he reacted and did this other thing, came out of nowhere. improperly vetted, and now we're here, now we're going to vote on this, and now you're going to find out after the fact that some of the things that you've done are not the best decisions. And a lot of it's got to do with schools. For some reason or other, you got something against schools. You all say you love schools, but I don't think so. And I don't believe the situation at the Callahan was handled correctly at all. And I don't understand everything
15
that's going to
seconds.
happen. Yes, right. I'll let you save your time so you can all pat yourselves on the back. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Bloomfield. Mr. Dunn? Mr. Dunn, would you like to speak? Mr. Dunn, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Oh, okay, we can hear you. You're 90 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Patrick Dunn, been in Precinct 4, District 4, whatever, for 46 years. A lot of services for the members of the community, and I am now on the board of the Council on Aging. There's a little misunderstanding there. The board is not anything but an advisory board appointed by the mayor, and the problem is, as some of us are old enough to remember a movie called Cool Hand Luke, we had here is a failure to communicate. We're supposed to be an advisory board, and we were never consulted by this big reorganization plan. And we did speak out in the form of a letter, and I'm speaking as an individual now. I think you've all received a letter from an urgent meeting we had of the Council on Aging members today that there is a strong interest in preserving a position of a director of elder services. And this is across the state. There are state organizations that support this effort. And I'm a big user of the library. There's some synergy with the library. We haven't explored enough, but I think this senior population,
Get 15
as
seconds,
several
Mr.
of the
Dunn.
members have spoken, deserve their due recognition and have a dedicated leader of the efforts, and not just the Callahan Center, but for the whole population of seniors, which is one of the growth areas in this city.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dunn. Next is Gregory Hayes.
Hello, Ashley, it's Glenda Thomas. Sorry about that.
Okay, you have 90 seconds, okay?
Okay, so I'm in District 1. I've been a resident of Framingham since 1980. And I was also on the Council on Aging Board for several years. There are two positions that are held by the director. One is the director of the Callahan Center, the other one's the director of Elder Affairs. So I know at the last council meeting, the mayor was asked to come back with a transition plan, and I want to know if we're going to see that transition plan before the budget is approved. Because I feel the release of Randy before the transition plan is developed is putting our seniors at risk from an elder standpoint. And again, I ditto what some others have said. I know, like Mr. Sullivan and Ms. Feeney, about looking at the funds that come in for the Council on Aging as a way of covering those costs of the director. And also, if you look at other towns and cities, Elder Affairs report directly to the mayor or the town manager. This has been a battle in Framingham that we have not had. So rolling it underneath the library, to me, just says we don't value our seniors.
Okay, you have 15 seconds.
I'm done.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, and last on Zoom is Garrett Cologne.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. You got 90 seconds.
Oh, fantastic. So yes, I'm Garrett Cologne, District 8. I'm also the chair for the Community Development Committee of the city. Just going to keep this short and brief. I agree with a lot of what the others have said. I do agree, right, that director is helpful. From my discussions with various members of the community and other committee members, the previous director had some shortcomings. So it would be interesting to see a new director step in and be able to handle the role effectively and uplift his staff or her staff, their staff, whatever their pronouns may be. And I'm also going to agree with others. It's time to raise taxes. All right, we can only put it off for so long. It is a tough pill to swallow. It's not politically fun, but there's a certain point where we have to, uplift the community as a whole by asking some from those that can't afford it. And from what we're looking at, it is going to be our housing needs, and it's important. So that's all I have. Have a good rest of the evening, and good luck with everything with the budget.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll start on this side of the room. There are 3 people with their hands up. Could 3 people raise their hands again? So I will start 1 in the second row, 2, then 3. Okay? You state your name and where you live.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Sarah Polichonic. I'm a resident of District 1. I believe that the students, educators, and our superintendent deserve better than what they've been handed this past year. Next year and future years, I give our educators so much credit for giving every student their best every day in the face of such uncertainty. The cuts that our schools have directly endured are going to cause a ripple effect that will damage our school system for years to come. If you don't vote for 4%, it will take even more years to be able to afford to start clawing our way back to being able to afford and provide an acceptable workflow for our remaining educators. We should want to be proud of and build up our school system, not knock it down. Aren't we all here because we want to be proud of our city and make it a desirable place to visit, to live, to put down roots? It's not like anyone celebrates raising taxes, but without investment in our schools, we start going backwards. Tonight, we need to shift that momentum and become progressive. I was recently enjoying the fifth grade yearbook and pause on most of their memories, which are that time in Sage, that memory from the school musical, a moment with a favorite educator that spent the time that changed the course of their school experience and in turn, that of their peers. How can they do that when class sizes go from 20 to 25 students, or we reduce or cut programs, or we have practically eliminate health education and overload counselors with so much work that they can't even spend the time it takes to build a relationship with students. All of us should equally care about the future of the students in our city. We need to resolve the current budget crisis and immediately pivot into how we're going to function long-term so we don't have to live in triage mode anymore. Please do what's right for our city. Please do what's right for our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, yes. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amy Finstein. I'm a resident of District 4, and I am a proud product of Framingham Public Schools and also the parent of a recent Framingham High grad and a current FPS student. I want to start by thanking Councillor Ward for moving this conversation forward and for advocating so specifically for restoring some of the proposed funding cuts from the school committee's previous nuanced request. And I would urge the council to move that or even better forward and tax at a 4% levy to be able to support our schools. In my kids' experience, I want to note that one of my children studied Mandarin for 7 years during his time at FPS, and both of my children have participated in the music and theater programs amongst many of the other programs that are currently slated on the 31 proposed additional cuts. These are not these are not extra programs, these are exceptional programs. And these are things that distinguish FPS from neighboring communities who cannot believe that my kids have been able to do the things here in town that they've been able to do. Please don't create false equivalencies between enrollment losses and the remaining needs of FPS students. We need these programs, they are not extra or optional. I also want to urge against fear-mongering about future years of budget concerns, because this is a challenge that you actively can actually take on in more advanced time for next year and can raise more taxes now that should have been raised more gradually over the years in the past. We know that the schools want to spend the money in very specific ways. They've given you their list, and I'm sure that they will do so accordingly. Thank you.
You have 90 seconds.
Yeah, Jeff Epstein, former school committee member, and I was chair of the finance committee in the school committee for 4 years, so I know the numbers. Thanks, Mary Kate, for suggesting what you did on the seniors. I think that should be pursued. Thanks, Brandon, for suggesting that. We're looking at values here, not costs. So I'd like to see a vote on that $1 million thing. One thing that should be remembered is the first round of cuts for the schools was to align it with the student loss. The second round did not. SAGE is really being cut, and ESL is being cut. What we're trying to do is buy time for the schools now, because everyone admits there's been no planning forever. And we now have a new CFO, and we think that next year we'll be in a much better position because we will have planned things. So one other thing to remember, in the first 4 years I was on the school committee, the tax increase was 0%. 0, 0, 0, 0. The pendulum really went in the cut direction. We're now asking to go from 3.5 to 3.9. It's a tiny shift in the other direction. And lastly, the citizens in this community were asked to vote for tax increases 5 times that I know of: debt exclusion, CPO, CPA money, and operating overrides. They said yes every time. It was 86% on the debt exclusion. So the citizens want value. They understand that there are costs, but they want value. And there's seniors here and education there, and we would really like to see some movement by the City Council today.
Thank you. Okay, this side of the room, I saw 3 hands. Yes, and then in the back row.
Thank you, Council. Grace O'Donnell, District 25. I would like to encourage you all to consider the recommendation that Mary Kate Feeney made about considering the use of the state formula grant to fund the director's position as the Council on Aging Director. I was the director for 11 years. I understand the complexity of the role, and yes, the state formula grant can be used to fund a director for that, and there certainly is sufficient money in that grant that comes every year from the state. So I encourage you to all explore that, look into it, and give the seniors the voice that they deserve. Our senior population is the one segment of the population that is growing. More than 16,000 people in this community are 60 and older. We're the 14th largest community in Massachusetts of seniors. I think it's disgraceful that we are considering eliminating the Director of Elder Services for this city. I'm really ashamed to say that I'm a resident here now with that happening.
Thank you. Time is up. Okay, I had 2 hands. Yep.
Hi, Sarah McKeown, District 7 resident, and I'm a teacher at Dunning. I appreciate the comments about ESL because I work with many English language learners. I'm going to echo what I've heard a lot of people saying here tonight. That yes, we have lost a number of kids and families, but I am very concerned about the kids and families who remain. The students that we have now are not getting the supports that they need, and that's supposedly with fully staffed schools and programs. There's high absenteeism, there's learning and emotional needs that have only grown year after year. There's political unrest, and there are very justified fears, and so many other challenges that are affecting the students. And the educators simply cannot provide everything that these kids need, especially when they are already cutting so many corners. And now we're going to take away more educators. I ask that you stop looking at everything as numbers and percentages. Look at the actual human beings behind these, especially the learners themselves. Regardless of how many kids and families have left, that's heartbreaking enough. There are still kids and families here who need our support. And it's up to us, well, actually, you, to make sure that they get it. So please do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me and everyone. Adam Freudberg, District 4 School Committee member. If you can believe it, I wasn't planning on talking tonight, so thank you for the bonus opportunity to raise my hand. I was one of the co-architects of the budget process to overrule the former mayor. This is not that. What the school committee's motion has for you before you tonight is a collaborative motion to go back to the mayor's first budget potential and give you the flexibility. Quote, the motion was, "We sincerely request that the mayor and city council consider alternatives that allow us to preserve as many of those positions as possible." The former state solicitor's legal opinion said a range is totally fine. That is online. May 14th, 2019. It's been online ever since. Just as adjustments have been made throughout this budget process for other departments, there's a straightforward legal and ethical pathway to restore funding through collaboration and through this motion before you tonight that can be done with a majority vote. More importantly, beyond the legal process, which if you want more of my opinions, I can have more time if you want, as the longest serving member of the school committee now, I feel an obligation to speak up a little extra when there are true impacts that have significant consequences for our students. I ask all of you to really understand the power of this room and your actions. I don't feel like the domino effect of what's been done the last few months is really understood and what it means
seconds.
for the, how many seconds?
15.
All right, thank you, for everything going on. So I ask that you stop students from losing their teachers. Teachers support many specific positions on that list of 31, have year-to-year continuity. I ask that you trust the school committee as partners in government to give some ability to preserve as many of those 31 positions as possible. We will get the job done for student-facing positions, impactful
Okay, your time is up.
student-facing positions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Okay, so we are now going to take,
Point of information.
Yes.
Could you tell us specifically, he just said majority vote. I was under the impression it's a two-thirds
it's a
vote.
two-thirds vote.
Just so we're all on the same page. How many
There's
votes
No
in
more
here?
public participation, I'm sorry.
No more public?
No.
Her hand was up.
I-
Yeah,
no,
my
there
hand
was
was
three-
up on this side.
If I, all right, one more.
I can assure you it'll be less than 90 seconds.
Okay, very good.
My name is Brenda Diaz. I have lived here for 14 years, and I do not remember my district, so forgive me. But I serve on the board of the Callahan. I also participate in the Framingham Senior Heroes Awards. But I'm here as a citizen, and through my work with older adults. I have seen firsthand, how important socialization, connection, and community is to an aging population. Our seniors, they deserve an advocate, they deserve leadership at the center. I know Randy has jumped in the van and picked up a resident or two. He knew everyone. He knew everyone's name. It was very familiar. Now, and also, he was also a mentor to other directors in other areas. But I believe eliminating that position it's just a disservice to the seniors that rely on the center every day.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Less than 90.
Okay, so we have three amendments, and we have the main motion on the budget.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to speak.
I said we weren't going to go back to council speaking. Everybody spoke twice, so.
I only spoke once.
No, we're taking a vote. So there's three amendments, and is the main motion. So the amendment by Mr. Ward is made under GLC 44, Section 32, which allows the city council to raise a budget not recommended by the mayor with two conditions, which we're going to say we meet, but that requires a two-thirds vote. It does not require a majority vote. So, Mr. Freudberg, I'm going to respect your position, so why don't you get up here and tell me where the citation is for a majority vote? Briefly, because you're wrong. It's right here in the state, unless it's been changed. Has it been changed in the last year?
Thank you for recognizing me. My comments were not about 4432.
Okay,
My
so-
comments were about that the mayor's first budget filing is still before you and can easily be adjusted to give you a pathway and to not use
Understood.
this
So
as a
so
block. That's my
you're not
point.
stating this you're not disagreeing that it's a two-thirds vote?
I'm not commenting on 4432. I'm commenting on the collaborative motion the school committee made to give you a pathway to save jobs.
So, I'm not quite sure what that means, but okay, very good. So we'll take the vote, starting with Mr. Freudberg's motion, then we'll take Mr. Stefanini's.
Mr. Freudberg made a motion?
Not Mr. Freudberg, I'm sorry. See, Mr. Freudberg,
He'd
my
like to,
vision.
but not tonight.
He probably would like to, I'm sure, but I saw his.
Next election.
I saw him in my vision, and I said his name. I meant Mr. Ward's. My apologies. So we'll start with Mr. Ward's motion, then we'll go with Ms. Feeney's motion, then we'll go with Mr. Stefanini's motion. I believe those are the three amendments we had. At that point, we'll take the main motion, which is the entire budget.
Point of clarification, Mr. Ward's motion is a financial motion. Stefanini's and Ms. Feeney's are both recommendations, correct? No financial impact, that we're asking the mayor to do something, is that correct?
Yeah.
They're still attached to the budget.
Right, but okay.
There's no revenue attached.
That's all I'm asking. Okay, thank you.
Oh, yes, that's correct.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. So I will start with doing it again. Mr. Furby, can you move out of my vision? So it's getting late at night and I'm having.
Boy. Those brainwaves are going right across.
Right there. That's my natural
Chair.
working way too, so. All
Chair,
right.
can we start with the recommendations first?
That's what we're starting with. We're starting with the motions as in the order they were made in, okay? They're in the order they were made in, because I don't want to be accused of doing anything other than that. So that's why, many weeks ago, I had my order of voting, and I stuck to it, and the recommendations are doing the order the motions were made. Okay, so this motion requires a 2/3 vote, starting with Mr. Cannon.
No.
Mr. Alexander.
Excuse me, point of order. Can you state the motion?
The
before we go? Sorry.
Mr. Chair, this is for Mr. Ward's 4.1 increase.
It's not a 4.1 increase. Can you just-
3.9.
The motion is to restore 3 middle school restoration interventionist positions, the SAGE positions, and half of the ESL teacher positions back into the budget from the 31 positions discussed by the school committee. It's an additional $957,082, which would mean the FPS budget allocation would now be $188,175,530.
Okay, thank
I
you.
thought we couldn't put the.
We can't put, he can put that in the motion, but that's not binding, okay? The money is binding, the use is not.
No.
Okay, Mr.
Point of
Cannon?
order, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think that really needs to come out of the motion because it is very misleading to the public since we have no ability to dictate how those dollars are spent in any way
I
whatsoever.
think that's a good point, so I will just.
My motion is to add an additional $957,082 to the FPS budget for a total allocation of $188,175,530.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a good point. So we'll start again. Mr. Cannon?
No.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Aviani?
No.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stefanini?
No.
Okay, sorry, I gotta go down my list here. Ms. Bryant?
How much would it raise the tax thing?
Ms. Bryant, you have to vote. We've been talking for 2 hours. Everyone else is
I
voting.
know, but we talked about other things too.
Ms. Bryant, we're in the middle of
I'm gonna say yes. I will say yes for now.
Ms. Leon-Bruno?
No.
Myself, no. Ms. Long?
No.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
And Ms. Feeney?
Yes.
Okay, so I believe that is 6 opposed, 5 in favor. It does not pass. Okay, the next motion is Ms. Feeney's motion. Can you restate your motion, please?
I certainly can. All right, I make a motion that the mayor and the Council on Aging work together to use the state formula grant to reinstate the Director of Aging Services position.
Second that.
Excuse me?
Okay,
I said
go
I
ahead.
seconded
Oh, no, it was already made a long time. It was made 2 hours ago. I know we
it.
forgot.
Whatever. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Okay, is anything else on this one? We're voting, no other questions?
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes.
a similar, are we able to, just like we can't dictate, I mean, I like the sentiment of the motion, but can we, I guess if it's non-binding, it can say anything, but, sorry, it's 10 minutes to 3 o'clock. in the
Yeah, no,
morning
I
here.
get it.
I don't know, that-
Good
can
thing
we
in the
dictate
present
the
time,
formula
no,
grant, the parameters therein, or
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, I spoke over you.
I'm agreeing with the sentiment, but are we able to, is it in order to dictate the formula grant, specifically those parameters? I don't believe it is.
Yes, it is.
But it's either way, it's.
Because it's non-binding?
They said it was, the former director said, yeah, it's a recommendation.
No, the use of funds.
Hold on,
Right, if the mayor decides to use the funds, it's in order. I get how the formula grant works. I just don't know that the council can dictate that particular use. If it's a non-binding resolution, which it sounds like it is, I guess it can say anything.
The council cannot order the mayor to spend the funds. They can make funds, even with the budget, we can't order the mayor to spend the funds. So that's always the case. The executive spends the money, we do not. Mr. Ottaviani, is this a?
Point of information.
Thank you.
Based on the grant is specifically for that purpose, isn't it? Or is it not?
It is specifically for elder, senior,
So it's only got used at the Elder Services Department.
yes, it is restricted to that.
Right, that's a good point, thank you.
Right, it's-
Right, it
it's-
is
Right, but
restricted.
it's used
can't
for
move
that,
it
so it can
somewhere
be, all right,
It can
thank
be-
you.
Right, thank you, that's a good point.
Short and sweet.
All right, so on Ms. Feeney's motion, we'll start with, we're all set, right? Okay, we'll start with Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Aviani.
Yes.
Ms. Malik.
Yes.
Mr. Stephanie.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Myself, no. Ms. Leon Bruno.
No.
Ms. Long.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Ms. Feeney.
Yes.
Mr. Cannon.
Yes.
Okay, nine in favor, 2 opposed. Okay, and then, Mr. Stephanie, can you just restate your motion?
I move in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 33, which authorizes the council to request that the mayor include funding for matters not included in the budget to fund 3 positions in the Park Department to maintain the Mary Dennison Park,
I second it.
which opens in August after a $40 million capital investment.
$40 million we're going to take care of the park.
Okay. Anybody else, questions about this one? It's a non-binding recommendation. Okay, yes,
So can you clarify, like, it wasn't worded as non-binding, because you,
So, can I explain the section?
yes.
So, under Chapter 44, Section 33, which is the same section relative to schools, this section, you're right, it's the same chapter. This allows the council to ask the mayor to include funding for something that is not in the budget. And if the mayor doesn't respond, then at some point in the future, the council, by a 2/3 vote, can vote to fund that. I suspect what will happen is somewhere between now and the place opening, we'll have to come to grips with this. And this puts us in a position to at least be able to nudge the conversation along and say, this is important.
you could, and then at a later date, we could change, we want to fund 2 positions, we want to fund 1 position,
Well, you'd have to be within the 3, yes.
but you could do less.
Correct, but not more.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more information we would need, but I support the general sentiment.
Okay,
That's what I think this is.
all right. Anybody else from, just not to discuss, but any other questions about the procedure here? Okay, Mr. Aviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Leon Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Ms. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
And Mr. Alexander?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the final vote comes on the main motion, which is,
I'm going to read it again?
no. Unless
I don't want to.
Unless anybody wants to hear it again. It's in the backup material, so I don't think you need to read it again. It has ultimately not been amended for the numbers, so the numbers stay for the same amount. There's no amendment, so I will take a roll call vote. Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stephanie? Ms. Bryant?
Did you say Mrs. Stefanini or me?
I said both, so we're on to you now.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Leon Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
No.
Mr. Ward?
No.
Ms. Feeney?
No.
Mr. Cannon?
No.
Mr. Alexander?
No.
Mr. Aviani?
Yes.
All right, 6 in favor, 5 opposed, and I just don't, the only thing I don't.
Wait, what?
Ms. Bryant, please.
Can you, excuse me, Chair, can you repeat the numbers again, the count?
Yes, I said 6 in favor, 5 opposed. I haven't said anything else other than that, so if we could just,
Point, it sounded to me in the count that it was the reverse. Like 6 opposed,
Well,
5 in favor.
it is not. The one thing I will admit to not knowing off the top of my head is whether the passage of the budget requires a 2/3 vote, and that is what I'm trying to determine.
It does not.
It does not? You're
I don't think it
confident
does.
not?
Wait a
Okay.
minute.
Therefore, the budget is then passed. Okay.
Can we do a recount? I just really don't think that.
No, I am not doing a recount.
Who voted in favor, though? I think it was less.
Sure.
Yes, Ms. Kelly will read the roll call back.
Thank you.
Your microphone. Thank you.
In favor, Malik, Stefanini, Bryant, King, Bruno, Ottaviani. Opposed, Long, Ward, Feeney, Cannon, Alexander.
Thank you. The budget passes. Next on the agenda is request of the Finance Subcommittee, a recommendation to vote and pay prior year bills.
Number 12, 2026-047001. This is a request for an authorization to pay unpaid bills from the prior fiscal years for several city departments and school district. These invoices will be paid from the FY 2026 budget, which were incurred. The total amount of outstanding bills is $42,121.29. On the May 20th, 2026 Finance Subcommittee, it was voted unanimously to support this. The motion was made by Councilor Cannon, it was seconded by Councilor King, and the vote was 5-0 to support it. We did have some discussion. Hopefully, these can get tightened up along the way, and we were given an answer by the new CFO that he would do his best, but every municipality has these, but Framingham seems to have more than most.
Okay, so it's so moved by Mr. Ottaviani. There's a second. Any further discussion, questions? Seeing none, starting with Mr. Stefanini.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Myself, yes. Ms. Bruno. Ms. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Ms. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Ottaviani?
Yes.
And Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Next, request to establish a donation account for Blazers Band. Mr. Ottaviani?
Order 2026-057001, upon the request of the Finance Subcommittee, recommendation vote regarding the establishment of a donation account for the Blazers Band. At the meeting on June 4th, Councilor Cannon made a motion, Councilor Stefanini, God bless you, seconded the motion. It was voted unanimously to set up this account. And in summary, it's just so they can accept general donations, event-specific donations, sponsorship and community partnerships, and memorial and honorary donations, as outlined in the memo from our new CFO to the council.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, I will take a roll call vote. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Ms. Feeney's out of the room. Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Ottaviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay,
Point of order.
yes,
It's 10 o'clock,
okay,
so motion to proceed past 10?
Second.
okay. All those in favor, myself, yes. Ms. Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Ms. Feeney? I'm sorry. Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Ottaviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stephanie?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Okay, everybody feels about the same about that, I can tell. Upon request of the Finance Subcommittee, a recommendation and vote upon the funding of adaptive PE equipment for Framingham Public Schools as requested by the Disability Commission. Mr. Ottaviani?
Order 2026-063, upon the request of the Finance Subcommittee, recommendation and vote upon the funding of adaptive PE equipment for the FPS as requested by the Disability Commission at our meeting on June 4th. It was voted 5-0-0 to recommend favorable action. Councilor Cannon made the motion. I don't recall who made the second. And the disability, this was a little bit of, housekeeping, so they've asked for this to get done, and as presented in the attached memo dated April 29, 2026, from the Disability Committee minutes.
So moved by Mr. Ottaviani, is there a second? Any further discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, starting Ms. Bruno,
Yes.
Ms. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Ms. Feeney? I'm sorry, I did it again, she's not here. Mr. Cannon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Ottaviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Stephanie? Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Myself, yes. So that's unanimous with Ms. Feeney out of the room. Okay, next, the requests from the Environmental and Sustainability Subcommittee, consideration and acceptance of US Bike Route 1 through the city of Framingham.
Thank you so much. So the Environment and Sustainability Subcommittee met, and we met on June 3rd and discussed this. And based on what we've seen from other municipalities, it's not the city council's purview to write the letter to make the recommendation. So we would like to make a motion to recommend that the mayor send a letter of support to Mass DOT in favor of the designation of US Bike Route 1.
Okay, it's moved to the second. It's moved and second. Any questions, discussions, comments? Yes, Mr. Stefanini.
Mr. Mayor, do you support this? Okay.
I did.
Ms. Daviani, any for Ms. Long?
Question, why isn't this being referred to the Traffic Commission?
We decided to put it to our Sustainability Committee. There was some talk that maybe it would go to the Traffic Commission after that, but I think, given the fact that we don't have it in our authority like originally thought, I assume the mayor would do that if he feels he needs to.
Well, then I make a comment, at least, that I hope this would be reviewed by the Traffic Commission as one that lives on that road, and I have concerns about putting a bike route that runs down Edgell Road in particular, seeing that you can barely get two cars to pass one another. Besides installing bike lanes on that road, it's like asking to be killed. So we've already had one death on that road in the past year by somebody on a bike, obviously. So I feel it's unfair to impose that on motorists because frankly, the roads were built for motorists, not for bicycles, and especially that road. So I just have concerns about this. And again, I understand that this is being proposed because while the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail is being built, they want to put this in, but I just think it's a really bad idea.
Can I respond?
Ms. Miller, yes.
Just to say, we're not actually establishing a bike route. There's no expectation that we're going to be creating signage of this bike route. We're not flagging or signing the road in any way. The idea is that once there's a critical mass across all 35 states, then the federal government would take up the designation of this route. So at the point where the federal government gets to that, the Bruce Freeman Trail might even possibly exist.
I don't know, I can do it. You're pointing to
Mr. Ward.
Just one other comment. This is a route that's designed from Florida to Maine, so people that are biking this are not your average biker. They're people that are, they're going across the country, and so it's the only change is that we're saying, please come to our community, spend your money at our shops, come to our coffee shops as you're driving through Massachusetts. So, and yeah, there's no signage, there's no road markings.
Hi. I'm temporary.
Time to wake up.
Temporary chair standing in here. George just stepped out of the room, so hello. I actually see Tracy, you have a comment?
Yes, there will be signage eventually. I thought it said to mark, so if I'm a biker and I want to bike to another state, right? Or any like bike routes, how to get from one state or one city to the other, I'll know which route to take. But I think Councilor Malik said that the federal government will do that once they've got all the states in play with it. So I want to clarify that, right? There will be, it's so people who are biking, who want to bike like far and wide, will know which route to take. Isn't that correct, or is that wrong?
Leora?
Yes, that's correct. If you look in the background materials within the presentation, there's a link. In the PowerPoint presentation, there's a link to the whole route as they're hoping to envision it.
Okay, thanks. Mary Kate, Council Feeney?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I know no one wants to really talk biking after 10 PM, but I love biking. I think it's also important to say that we can also change this twice a year or once a year with the organization, so that when the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail comes in, that could be part of this. It's all part of this, as Brandon said, the East Coast Greenway. There will be no new signage. This is really, again, for experience. I can't even cycle this, so as the way it stands. But it's really good, and cycling is great, and it goes through my district, so I hope you all support this.
Mr. Cannon?
I'm just clarifying, I thought we were referring this to the mayor.
That's correct.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none?
To be clear, Mr. Chairman, we're not referring this, we're recommending this.
That.
Just so Mr. Cannon is aware of that.
Point taken. Mr. Chick?
On Chick, I support the concept. There's no striping, road striping, there's no signage. It's for through bikers to make these connections between existing constructed trails. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so all those in favor recommending the mayor do this, adopt this? Ms. Long?
No.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Ms. Feeney?
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Aviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stefanini?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Bruno?
Yes.
Okay, and last on the agenda, a discussion requested by Mr. Aviani that we discussed regarding liquor license extension of hours.
I need to read a disclosure first, Mr. Chair, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
The disclosure of appearance of conflict of interest is required by General Law, Chapter 268, Section 23B3. Name of public employee, Philip R. Ottaviani, Jr. Title position, City Council Member, District 6. Agency, City of Framingham, 150 Concord Street, Framingham, Mass. 01702. Phone number, the office. Email, my City Council email. In my capacity as a state, county, or municipal employee, I am expected to take certain actions in the performance of my official duties. Under the circumstances, a reasonable person could conclude that a person or organization could unduly enjoy my favor and properly influence me when I perform my official duties, or that I'm likely to act or fail to act as a result of kinship, rank, position, or undue influence by any party or person. I am filing this disclosure to disclose the facts about this relationship or affiliation and to dispel the appearance of a conflict. Describe the issue that is coming before the action for decision. Item number 16 on the City Council agenda, June 16, 2024, a discussion regarding liquor licenses and extension of hours. What is your responsibility, or do you have in taking action? The City Council may vote on a recommendation or may make public comments on the proposed policy and a plan moving forward. Explain your relationship or affiliation to the person or organization. My family owns 2 properties in the city that have restaurant tenants. One location is at 1656 Worcester Road, owned by a family trust controlled by my father, and 672, 678 Waverly Street, another restaurant owned by an LLC with whom my wife is both the manager and the sole member. How do your official actions or decisions matter to the person of the organization? This policy discussion was approved by the state and signed by our governor. It will affect all liquor license in the city. Optional, additional facts why there is low risk undue favoritism. This policy affects all liquor licenses in the city of Framingham. I don't, or my family do not, or any member have any financial interest in a liquor license in the city of Framingham. I am taking this, by taking into account the facts that I have disclosed above, I feel that I can perform my official duties effectively and fairly, signed by myself, dated today. I'll give it to Ms. Kelly so she can file it with the clerk, but I just wanted to be on this, I spoke with an attorney today, just to err on the side of caution, because I don't think we can take any real action on this, but we're going to have a discussion, I believe. So based on a letter I received, the mayor received it, the licensing commission received it, and I believe Council Stephanie and I think the whole council got the letter, actually.
So is there anything you want to say?
Well, I'm just putting that out. Well, I'm disappointed, okay, to be honest with you. Our Senate president went out of her way to work with the legislative delegation in the body and the governor to promote the World Cup. One of my tenants is a Mexican restaurant, I'll put that out there, and one of my tenants is a Brazilian sports pub. But I think this was originally done to promote a Jack's Abbey and a brewery in Framingham, and, that's going to have games, every restaurant and every bar and I tried to get a count of how many liquor licenses were beer and wine or liquor in the city, would like the opportunity. You know, it bothers me that Framingham has the attitude we're shut down for business after 11 or 12 o'clock, okay? I don't know how many of you people watch the liquor licensing commission and the board, but when somebody applies for a license, we're either gonna have licenses in the city of Framingham or we're not. So if we have 2 AM licenses, you either give them out and let somebody succeed or fail, or don't give them out to anybody. So come up with a policy, and we don't have that policy. And I've talked to a couple people on the Liquor Commission, and, you know, I think some of them have some concerns. And when the police make a recommendation, and I was dumbfounded, and I'm gonna get in trouble for saying it, but when somebody tells you that the streets in Framingham are not as safe after midnight, and they got it, and they read it in a Baltimore, Maryland study, I can take you for a ride in the Denali at midnight. We can drive around downtown Framingham. I don't need a study from Baltimore, Maryland to tell me that after midnight, things happen. But we're open for business. We're a city. We have we actually don't have as vibrant as we should, entertainment and things going on in the city at night. And I think everybody should be given the opportunity to succeed. And by not doing this experiment, and the governor called it an experiment, we all saw it on TV, she enthusiastically supported it. And people are taking advantage of it. And our licensing commission doesn't have another meeting till June next week. And then by the time, if it ever came back here for a second reading, we blew the opportunity. So I don't know what we can and can't do, but I think it's something that we really need to look at and decide if we're in the business of being a city and we have liquor licenses and they can go till 2 in the morning, you can't selectively give them out to certain people or, discriminate against one business. And it seems like there's something going on that's not really cool about this. That's all I'm going to say.
Mr. Chairman?
Without getting me in more trouble than I'm already in, probably.
Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Mr. Ottaviani covered most of it. I would just make a couple of comments and then a motion. The Senate President moved this along for Jack's Abbey, which is something to be proud of in Framingham. But when you look at what do we do for our younger people in our community, other than Bourbons and Jack's Abbey, what do you do? And this is not a permanent thing. This is for soccer games, which is important to mention. And a few of them are West Coast, so they start at 10 p.m., and they want to stay to the end of the game. And if they can't stay to the end of the game, who's going to a bar to watch a game that you can't watch the end of a game to? This is a limited case-by-case basis for soccer games. The Senate put language in to study how this works, and we should do the same. We should use the opportunity to see whether or not it changes the business or the folks that are there. And I happen to think we need to encourage more folks. I'm not going to be there, for the record.
You need,
But that doesn't mean that my daughters shouldn't have that opportunity and that soccer enthusiasts shouldn't have the ability to do that. So I would make a motion that we recommend to the mayor and to the licensing commission that they take advantage of this one-time opportunity as expeditiously as possible to allow our businesses to do the same thing that businesses are doing all across the Commonwealth.
Wow.
Okay, moved and seconded. Further discussion? Mr. Ward?
I would just make a couple comments. I think generally I'm in support of the motion. There is a urgency because the World Cup's only here for another month, and the late games are really in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So after that, the late games are over. I think, I hope at some point in this process, the police are involved. I'm not sure, I don't know what the exact motion is for that the Senate passed or that the legislature passed around how late businesses need to be open. The latest games are midnight, but most are 10 or 11. So, I don't think we need places open till 3 a.m. in my opinion, but I'm generally supportive.
Can I answer his question? Mr. Chairman, they are open an extra hour. Everyone can get 1 extra hour.
Ms. Bryant?
That's great. Thank you.
Ms. Bryant?
Question, you Councilor Stefanini, you kept saying soccer games. Do you mean the FIFA World Cup or just any time there's soccer games you think the bar should stay open later?
That, he's talking, it's special
good
to the,
idea.
the whole issue is special to the World Cup, Ms. Bryant, okay?
Well, I would say so, but if you say soccer games, then I don't want it coming out later. But we said soccer games, so anytime
Well,
there's.
we have to
soccer-
comply, you can't do it, we have to comply with the state law, Tracy, so it's not, it's not a
Whatever,
concern.
World Cup.
All right.
Okay. And then how late do our bars stay open on the weekends now in
It depends on
Framingham?
their license, Tracy, some can stay to 1, some can stay to 2, it depends.
All right, what is the latest they can stay
2 on
to?
Friday nights, I believe, 1 and every other night if they have a license they go to.
Saturday night? What about Saturday?
Saturday night is a 1 o'clock, there's only 2 o'clocks on Friday nights, I believe. Okay, Mr. Alexander?
I just wanted to get clarification. So is it this particular establishment, or are we going to recommend all establishments in the city that could have the capacity to do this?
I made my recommendation on a case-by-case basis, based on the FIFA games, not just random soccer games, as in accordance with the state law, which is limited to, realistically, you're talking about 2 or 3 nights. That's what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I just need a clarification like that, yeah, because I.
Licensing commission would have to determine that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would open up the whole, just have
So-
everybody, yes, exactly.
I generally agree with the motion myself. I think that, it's always a balancing act, that there has to be some respect for neighborhoods where places are located and that type of thing. At the same point, I think there has to be some commerce. So and I just, sometimes I feel like our licensing commission is not as responsive as they should be. Like, this is an issue they should have dealt with, or they should have at least voted on. If they're going to vote against it, they should have voted on it, and they should have had a meeting before June 22nd to do that, so that's my opinion. Okay, we're going to take a vote on the motion unless there is something.
Just one more. So this is for individual businesses as opposed to a policy, a blanket, like, any business that serves liquor?
It's for serving establishments that have a liquor license to extend their hours for World
Okay.
Cup games for
All
by
right.
1 hour, okay? All those in favor, Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Ms. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yep.
Mr. Aviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Stefanini? Ms. Bryant?
Only for medicinal purposes, I'll say
Myself,
yes.
yes. Ms. Lee and Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Okay, anything else we have?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second?
All those in favor? Starting out with Ms. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Go Horns,
Mr.
yes.
Aviani?
Yes.
Ms. Malik?
Yes.
Mr. Stefanini?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yeah.
Myself, yes. Ms. Lee and Bruno?
Yes.
Ms. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.